phone. I don't want to piss anybody off. Oh, they might not get the new beta.
Adam Curry, John C. Dvorak.
It's Thursday, February 11th, 2021. This is your award-winning Gibbo Nation Media Assassination episode 1320.
This is No Agenda.
Fist in my nuts and broadcasting live from Opportunity Zone 33 here in the frontier of Austin, Texas, capital of the Drone Star State. In the morning, everybody. I'm Adam Curry.
And from northern Silicon Valley. And since Biden's installation as president, 60,000 Americans have died on his watch. He's a murderer. I'm John C. Dvorak.
It's Crackpot and Buzzkill in the morning.
Yeah. That's called whataboutism, John. Stop with your whataboutisms.
I'm just using his logic.
Yeah. 31 degrees in Austin, Texas.
Oh, no wonder you could do the trill.
Oh. Yeah. So, what is going on?
31 is cold. It's global warming.
Turn off HARP. Turn off HARP, people. Oh, man. What a crazy day. Already crazy day. Bitcoin all-time high.
What's it?
It was like almost 49,000 this morning.
Oh, you're rolling in dough.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, just rolling in it. If I hadn't sold those 65 10 years ago, I might be rolling in the dough. No.
Wow, that was a blunder.
That was a big blunder. That's all right. I'm with the.
Well, it's not as bad as both Buzzkill Jr. and the shill.
Yeah.
They both, like I think a lot of people.
Don't tell me something bad happened to them.
No, they both have Bitcoins.
Of course they have Bitcoins.
On some old hard disk.
Oh yeah, no. Eric told me about this. Yeah. Oh yeah, I done some mining a while back. I think I got 3 or 4 Bitcoins, but I don't know which computer it's on. I got to restore from a backup. I'm going, oh my.
Yeah, I think JC's got a half dozen, and he doesn't know where the disk is. It's long gone. This is like 10 years ago.
Don't these people know what a seed is that you need to keep in your safe or in your head? Oh, I guess not.
Hey.
Yeah, no.
You're talking to the wrong guy. I don't even care about this.
I know you don't.
I figured if I didn't buy 25 or 100 Bitcoins when they were 25 cents or $1, what's the point now?
Well, something for a longer discussion someday. Meanwhile, we learned something. We learned that it is completely constitutional to impeach a president after he's already out of office. It's a fact. That was quite shocking to me, I have to say, as a constitutional scholar.
Well, I think our murderer in chief, Barack Obama, is susceptible to this.
Well, I like this a lot because now, eventually we can go back and we can get all kinds of dudes.
And we end up impeaching all of them.
Yeah, let's get Cheney, because no one's talking about vice presidents, but I think Cheney would be a good one to...
Well, what about Bush?
Well, yeah,
the torture.
Yeah.
No, I think they're all susceptible. I mean, they've been called war criminals by the left.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
But actually, Clinton has been too. So you got Reagan. Because he's still Iran-Contra. They can go back and do that again.
Yeah.
Then you got Clinton. You can do him again. And then George H.W. Bush. I'm sure there's something there. He was puking on some guy. That's impeachable.
Definitely. But wait a minute. Can't we impeach Joe Biden as vice president?
Yeah, there you go. No,
and then he would not be able to hold office.
That's a good one.
Yeah,
I think that must be begun.
That must be begun. Begin to begin, he said. Yes. Well, I enjoyed. I didn't watch all of the trial, but I had C-SPAN radio on my hearing aids, so I heard most of it. And there were some funny bits in this. The trial is, as you noted in the newsletter, a huge show trial. A lot of stuff. And really, I'm disappointed. I think the level of lawyers on both sides is mediocre. Just what are they all trying to do? Like a CBS movie of the week,
they're
courtroom
trying to get
drama.
Jobs. They're all doing auditions.
It is. It's like auditions, exactly. Jamie Raskin, who, from what I understand, he is a trial lawyer.
You'd never know it from this.
Exactly. Now, the funniest moment
Insider in chief.
Well, there were actually a lot of funny moments. Let me see what I have. There were some things about Bill Barr that the defense brought up. And it was interesting listening to this on C-SPAN radio. You know, C-SPAN radio, you're listening to it, and they try to provide you with eyes by coming in by saying, the senator from New York, Chuck Schumer. You know, they'll
naked on the stage. He's up there naked.
That's exact. Wouldn't it be cool if they did that? Senator from New York, Chuck Schumer, has no pants on. C-SPAN radio. But instead, we did get some language which they then had to intervene on and say, C-SPAN radio was carrying this live, which means we do not censor any of the language. It may not be applicable or appropriate for some younger ears. C-SPAN radio. And this was one of them.
According to a news report, Bill Barr, the highest law enforcement official in the land, told President Donald Trump to his face that his theories of election fraud were, quote, bullshit, unquote.
C-SPAN radio is carrying this live. We're so sorry for any nasty words you might have heard. But then, when I'm talking about the quality of these lawyers, and are these millennials disguised as Xers or boomers? Listen to this.
16 assistant U.S. attorneys in the Trump administration urged the Attorney General to cease investigations because they had not seen evidence of any substantial anomalies. That means they did not find any evidence of real fraud. Attorney General Barr pursued the investigations anyways, and after his investigation...
How does that work? How does a lawyer schooled in language, how does he come up with anyways? Come on. Automatic dismissal.
I didn't catch that at all. I'm gonna give you a premature borderline clip of the day.
Wow. Okay. Oh, jeez.
Clip of the day.
Anyways, get out of town. Get out of town.
It makes me wonder whether they're just mocking the whole process.
Yeah, maybe.
I know there's no evidence of it because they all seemed humorless dipshits.
They really did.
But it's possible that that was an act too. You don't know.
Well, so what was interesting to me, although we've seen this more recently in different things in the Senate, it was really a lot of use of video. And man, would you take video and then you're overlaying never before heard radio transmission of Capitol Police. I mean, yeah, it's going to sound scary, You and I can do that. Just as audio. This has never been heard before. Listen to these brave men and women of the Capitol Police. It's like... Oh, man, that sounded really bad.
Yeah, it was ludicrous.
But they also used a lot of M5M footage, which was interesting. And it was just so flattering for CNN. Jake Tapper got all jitty. He was slick from the fact that they used CNN real reporting in this trial.
A lot of CNN reporting was in that presentation. CNN reporters talking to Trump supporters, Anderson, finding out what they think. Is there any way that if Donald Trump loses, it's legitimate, and they say no? This was CNN reporting. John Kelly, former White House chief of staff, saying Donald Trump told his supporters what to do, and they did it. All right there, all reported by CNN.
Yeah.
Anderson?
Oh my God, you guys are so great! Yeah, CNN.
CNN one more time, just for the record.
CNN.
So we don't get that mixed up with anyone else.
What I found kind of obvious, like how the setup worked, or maybe they were working ahead. Maybe they were playing 3D chess against the president. I'm not sure. One of the pieces of evidence that was introduced was the leaked call between President Trump at the time and the Georgia governor, where he was saying, "Hey, man, this is like last chance. You gotta get me the votes. This is bull crap." And I'm sorry.
And it has to do with the insurrection. They brought this in. I know.
Oh yeah, it's all
jammed all these things in one thing, but that's something had to do with the insurrection.
It's all about
supposed I'm sorry, I said insurrection, but that's the term they use. The protest where they walk between the the walk down the aisle between the those, what do you call it, the velvet ropes. Don't want to get outside the ropes.
NPR really took the cake for me on because the term insurrection seems to be difficult for certain people. We've seen Anderson Cooper from CNN. We've seen Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer. And we've also seen Democratic House bigwig Adam Schiff all say erection instead of insurrection. And it seems to be just guys that have this issue. And is it a truth wants to come out? Are they thinking of something different? Well, National Pornographic Radio joined the club.
Things that were brought up by the House managers that we can expect the Trump lawyers to bring up. One of them being a First Amendment argument. What is the First Amendment argument to defend the president for its conduct, and what is the Democratic or House manager response?
Yes, so Trump's lawyers in this proceeding are arguing that he is protected by the First Amendment. First of all, he didn't attempt to incite an insurrection as charged. And second of
now wait, listen.
I'm glad the ladies are in.
But wait, she throws a second flub right after that, which is a new twist.
First of all, he didn't attempt to incite an insurrection as charged. And second of all, that his words are protected. The contrary point there, Steve, is that...
Holy moly.
She's got penis on the mind. The cock, the erection. Is
that guy standing across from her naked? You don't know. It's NPR. They could all be naked.
No idea, but man, NPR. Turning up the heat.
Wow.
Please, people need to be aware. We do have crack producers who are all over.
Literally.
Yes, all over this kind of stuff. So, Victor Davis Hanson from the, what is he with? Brookings Institution? No, Hoover Institution. He gave a pretty good summary.
Well, actually, he is he's at the Hoover Institution a lot because he likes to talk with the interview guy there. He's a professor of ancient history, and he's extremely highly regarded as such. He's not a slouch.
Well, he's being canceled left and right.
Well, they can try all they want. It's pretty going to be hard to do.
He says this is exactly what it looks like, and there's no doubt about it. We are under Communist Party of China rule.
It's not a serious attempt to either remove Donald Trump during his tenure or to ban him from office in his retirement. It's like a public shaming, like the Communist Party used to make people wear dunce caps. That's what it's intended for. And so are the public confessionals. And somebody is fired from the New York Times for a thought crime 30 years ago, or indiscreet expressions, and they have to have this effusive apology. I didn't know what I'm doing. I was ignorant. I wasn't properly advised. I didn't have the...
What?
I was just mumbling to myself. Keep going.
Training that I have now. I want to apologize to marginalized people. The vocabulary is even reminiscent of the Soviet or Chinese system. We say these same words, privilege. Now we have a new one, unearned privilege. We come up with a sloganeering. One of the most dangerous that appeared in the last 6 weeks from the left and the left-wing media is it's not about free speech, it's about free reach. And they said, we're not trying to cancel people's First Amendment rights by barring them from Facebook or Twitter or from universities. We're just saying that you don't have an inherent constitutional right to use a platform that you don't own.
I love that. Not free speech, free reach.
Free reach. I don't think that's going anywhere. It's like Trumplican. I've had these clips from one of these obscure, I'm spending a lot of time roaming around these YouTube alternatives and some wild stuff on there. But this lawyer, Robert Barnes, comes on. He does a three-piece
from Barnes Law, right? That's his...
Barnes Law guy.
Yeah.
I want to jump to the last clip I have. I'm going to play the other... I like to play the other clips, too, but just to put the little background on this, he says something on this clip called The Final Analysis, which I thought was, I didn't think about it until he outlined it for me. And I think we should have this in the back of our minds as we listen to all these clips.
Okay.
And none of which could be blamed on Trump. I mean, and the law there on incitement is clear, and there's been plenty of precedents on it. For incitement, you have to have the reason why it's a First Amendment violation, and the reason why Raskin had to argue. Raskin couldn't meaningfully argue that the speech was unprotected by the First Amendment. He tried, but it was a very weak argument. That's why he couldn't argue that his wanting to use the Fifth Amendment against Trump was not doing exactly what he was doing. That his attempts to circumvent other protections of the Constitution, including due process, weren't present. That's why he made the extraordinary statement that the precedent they want to set with this impeachment trial is not about Trump, really. It's that there is no constitutional limitation on Congress's power to be judge, jury, and executioner if you've ever held federal office, period. In fact, they want to go a step further. They're arguing under the 14th Amendment, Article subsection 3, that you don't even need to be an ex-official. They can start holding trials of private citizens anywhere in the country to prohibit people from running for office ever. This is the scary, perilous. That's why I tell my liberal friends that the reason why anybody on the constitutional side can no longer, in good faith, stay on the left is because the left has decided to burn the Constitution. They no longer care about it. It's an inconvenience. It's an intrusion. It's an obstacle. And this is one more example of their willingness to make a mockery of it in just going after their political adversaries to establish a precedent to go after a lot of other people.
Yeah, Victor Davis Hanson followed up, and he, of course, also agrees with that. But he takes, I think, one step further and says this is the opposite of what the left has always wanted, done, and stood for.
But that's entirely antithetical to the whole civil rights movement. I can remember in 1964 in California, there was something called the Fair Housing movement. And what it said was, if you own an apartment building or a house, or you're the head of a community or residential homeowners association, you can't tell an African American or an Armenian American or an Asian American, sorry, you can buy a house anywhere you want. The fact that we control 99% of the houses in town is your problem, not ours. You just go out and find a house, but you're not going to have a house with us. And that was rejected by the Supreme Court, that idea. And the idea that you can bar somebody from a private but a public quasi-shared entity and then expect them to go out and Twitter or social media when you block that alternative. And that's the argument that the left is using, which was once a racist reactionary trope.
Yeah, used to be racist and wrong.
That was a very good take by him.
Guy's smart.
That did take it to the next level.
Yeah.
Yeah, these guys are shameless. They're horrible. They're horrible people.
Now, Alan Dershowitz, who has been effectively canceled and now camps out on One America News, or is it Newsmax? See, I don't even know.
Or worse.
I don't even know.
I saw him on something. I was going to clip. It's probably the clip you have.
It might be.
I don't even know what this outlet is.
It's so sad. The guy is, for decades heralded as America's constitutional lawyer.
This happened to Ray McGovern. We've said this before. I might as well reiterate.
Please.
These guys who normally used to be on all these shows, including Democracy Now!, a lot of them, Ray McGovern being the best example of a guy who was on Democracy Now! All the time, said one little thing, and next thing you know, he's blacklisted from everything. And Stephen Cohen, the Russian expert, another good example, who's now died. He died, but he got kicked off of everything. Yep. Glenn Greenwald's another example. He was on Democracy Now! All the time, and they turned on him.
Yep.
And Matt Taibbi for all practical purposes.
Yeah.
I mean, there's just all these guys who used to be the voices of reason from the left. From the left. These are not right-wingers.
No,
they're all
not.
lefties.
Certainly not. Even
they all got kicked off this platform.
I think Victor Davis Hanson isn't necessarily conservative either. That's my feeling about
He's pretty conservative.
Really? I thought he wasn't.
Yeah, well, when you study, he's talking about, we're talking ancient history, we're talking about ancient history, you get conservative.
Okay. So Dershowitz, now, I had already pointed out that it was hard for me to find the line in Trump's speech just before the erection, and the line where he said, "Fight, we got to fight like hell." Dershowitz says there's he doesn't even talk about that in this clip, but he says that the mainstream media has omitted a key piece from his speech, which he says is, for all intents and purposes, has been scrubbed from the internet. He says it's never in any of the pieces, and he says this one part of the speech is the crux of the reason why the president cannot be found guilty.
I know that everyone here will soon be marching over to the Capitol building to peacefully and patriotically make your voices heard.
I mean, isn't it like right there, open and shut? We had Mr. Castor on last night. He is one of the lawyers. I mean, like, that's it right there. He said it out loud.
No. I understand. The president didn't actually say that. How do I know the president didn't say that? Because it wasn't on CNN, and it wasn't on PBS, and it wasn't in the media. So the president obviously couldn't have said it. You just made it up. You probably just created that tape, because I believe CNN, and CNN didn't show that. And recently on Frontline, they had a whole show on Trump, and they showed that speech, but they left out that phrase, just the way they left out the term when he talked about good people on both sides, saying, I don't include neo-Nazis or white nationalists. They left that out. The kind of editing they're doing, the doctoring of tapes that's going on at CNN. I'm suing CNN for doctoring the tape of my presentation in front of the Senate when they took out the phrase illegal or unlawful, suggesting that I thought the president can do anything he wants, even engage in illegal conduct. So you just can't trust some of the media to tell you the truth. Of course, when he said peaceful and patriotic, that's the end of the case.
There you go. If it didn't, if it's not on CNN, it didn't happen.
This is what's going on.
Yeah, it's exactly what's going on.
And Dershowitz, at least he has a couple of outlets, and then we can pick it up, and some other people will pick it up. But everybody should know that this is nonsense, and it's just like a show trial.
Yeah, what I understand is by Saturday they hope to have a vote Saturday night, and it would be very surprising if they got this one, which would mean they'd need 17 Republicans.
They can't get 17.
Of which they have 6.
They got their 6 turncoats. Yeah. And I'm not even sure all 6 of those are vote for impeachment. They just...
Likely not, yeah.
I would think 4 for sure. I mean, Romney will for sure.
Right.
I don't know what that guy's problem is, but I guess he got very insulted by Trump, and he just can't get it out of his system.
Please. You know what's funny, though, in the land of Stop the Steal is... hotel bookings for Washington, D.C. are up significantly for March 3rd and 4th. And you're going to love this. You're going to love this.
I know this already.
It's hilarious because that was the original inauguration day. Original inauguration day. And so there's even Trump hotels are 3 times as expensive on March 3rd and March 4th.
Yeah, make a few extra bucks on the side. The last I heard from the Q types, not from Q, was that on March 6th, Trump will be sworn in as president.
Could be.
Oh, yeah. What do you mean could? Yeah, could be.
Anything could happen.
Let's listen to this guy.
Anything. Well, wait. Are we going to go straight to the nut job stuff? We're going to do that a little bit later. I have some stuff, but why don't we?
I don't have any nut job stuff. I always wanted to play the Barnes Law guy.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Telling us what's going on. I also have a kind of a summary from PBS on the thing.
Let's do it. Yeah, but as long as it's not Amy, I get so much grief.
I got no Amy.
Oh, you heard it here, ladies and gentlemen. He's got no Amy.
I got no Amy.
All right, what are we playing?
I'm looking up and down the list here. I don't see it.
No Amy. Well, you say PBS, I always cringe.
Tell people to clam up.
Yes, we
got a show. We do what we do.
I actually kicked someone out of the troll room for saying just that. Just now. Digiguru.
What did he say?
He said, please, no Amy Goodman clips. And I said, go do your own podcast. Kick.
Ooh.
I know, I'm bad.
I'm on a roll. Yeah. Let's listen to Robert Barnes and what's wrong with this impeachment. And it's a 3-parter. It's nothing long here, and I think he's got most of the points.
Which one am I playing here? What is wrong?
This would be Robert Barnes, What is Wrong 1.
Oh, okay.
Technically, Pelosi failed to deliver the impeachment until after Trump was out. And she did that because she wanted a different Senate Majority Leader in charge. And so that creates a constitutional issue. The next constitutional issue is Leahy being both judge and juror. That's a problem. 3, the Chief Justice not being present in the case. 4th, the fact that historically, they have recognized the due process clause does apply to the way they're supposed to do it, and they have internal rules about how impeachment is supposed to work. And that included giving him a chance to be heard, giving him advance notice, producing witnesses on his behalf. All of that was denied by the House. We have never had an impeachment where this has happened before to this degree, and that's what happened here. They just rushed it through. So all of those, and then you have problems. It's the whole idea. You could have had a different jury if this was a midterm issue. That part by itself wasn't necessarily a problem. The problem is that it was that she did not transfer the impeachment papers while Trump was president. And so that she deliberately delayed it to change who it is that got to adjudicate it.
Oh, that's interesting.
And I think what that is, if you think about it, when he brings up the points that
it's shit ready for Joe Biden, they just switched it to Trump.
No, I think what he said at the first clip that we played earlier, and what Victor Hanson Davis said, is this was done to prove that you could do an impeachment with somebody out of office.
Right.
So you wait. He's out of office. Now you transfer the papers. And then it's proving it sets a precedent. This has been done before. Yeah, Pelosi did it. So we can do this now with when the Republicans get in. You can do it with Barack Obama.
Yes.
But they're not thinking in those terms because these Democrats do not think.
No, John, most politicians are dumb. Come on.
They don't get that this can happen to them.
They hire lawyers who say anyways. Come on. Who are these people?
This is true.
Get the hell out
anyways.
of here. Get out of my face.
Oh, my God. Okay, let's go to part 2. Sorry.
So you get past all of those issues, the due process issues, the no chief justice issues, a judge is also a juror issues, the timing of when the transfer took place issues, whether you can do this to someone who is no longer holding office, and the bill of attainder issues. Even if you get past all those issues, you have 2 other big issues, which is one, the First Amendment problem, that this is protected speech. What is terrifying, as Dershowitz has also recognized, is that the precedent they're trying to set is not only is that there's no statute of limitations ever. That was part 1 they claimed. Part 2, that there's no First Amendment application ever to any impeachment proceeding. And related to there, too, no due process requirement ever. So they're saying the Constitution that gives them the power of impeachment does not apply. No other part of the Constitution applies to the actions of impeachment.
Statute of limitations. Hello, Barack.
That's very interesting.
These guys are nuts.
Why are they doing this? It makes no sense.
They think that they've owned the place now.
Well, but
I remember when I think it was right when Obama first won in 2008, and they owned the House, the Senate, and they had 60 people in the Senate. They had it made, and they were doing crazy stuff. Then luckily they lost their 60 members very shortly thereafter, but like within a month or 2. But I remember clips where they were doing stuff like they were having a meeting, and then every time a Republican wanted to talk, they just cut their mic.
All right.
And then one time they closed, they slammed. This meeting's adjourned. They turned the lights off with a bunch of Republicans sitting in there.
Yes. Gosh. That's
These guys are nuts.
That's
these people.
Right. And it's all the same people. It's on steroids now. The people who are in there.
Oh, yeah. No, they think that they've got it made.
Yeah,
this is a problem for them. But anyway, let's go to the last clip.
Because there's 2 other problems with this particular impeachment, which is, one, they violated their own rules, which requires that there be separate articles of impeachment for each particular item. The reason reason for that is you need to know what you're voting on. In order for 2-thirds to convict, You need to know which count they're voting on. Well, they stuck all the counts together within one count. And within the criminal world, they try to do this. It's unconstitutional. They call it a multiplicitous or duplicitous or duplicative indictment, but particularly multiplicity, which is basically where they have multiple counts within one count, where a jury could vote for guilty, but there not actually be agreement as to which count they're voting guilty on because they've all been shoved into one count. So that's a problem, including a constitutional problem, which again, the Democrats' answer is let's just scratch the Constitution as it applies to impeachment. And then, of course, the same problem we discussed extensively in the last impeachment debate, which is there is no allegation of a specific crime being committed.
Yeah.
And there you have it.
Yeah. So it seems futile unless for some god-awful reason they decided to deploy the nuclear option, which is highly unlikely, but that would mean that they get rid of
the nuclear option only applies to legislation, not impeachment.
Oh, it can't go for impeachment? Oh,
no.
Damn. Oh, that's no fun. So it's so they can't be serious. They really, we have to do this so he can never hold public office again. It just seems unlikely that they were going for that. And so then in that case, Victor Davis Hanson's analysis of this is just shaming, I think is right. But what I'm worried about is once Trump has been, shamed to the degree they feel appropriate and they'll come up with the right words, we can almost kind of guess what it's going to be. But I think the word traitor will be in there somehow. They're going to have something, and it will be used as a wedge against half of America. That's what I'm worried about. Because no one is trying to figure out, hey, why were all these people so mad? What they're saying is they did this because Trump told them to. And then we'll fix that. We got unity and we can move on. Meanwhile, 60% of the people they tracked illegally, and is now just being presented by the media as if it's the most normal thing in the world, were in financial dire straits. I mean, they did some nice fact-checking on people, didn't they?
Yeah. Better than normal.
Yeah, but this is also the CCP way. And I'm now more convinced than ever, especially with that analysis from Hansen, is the CCP is calling the shots. They're just telling us what to do.
Well, there are a number of articles out there, long essays written by various people saying that China won this election.
Did you see I think I sent you the article, the 30 threats?
No, I did not see that article yet.
Oh, my goodness. It's not 30. The 30 Tyrants. It's on Tablet Mag. It's a very long read, but they really run down how the CCP took over the United States and the politics. And I'd forgotten about Dianne Feinstein when she was mayor of San Francisco. That's when China really got a hold on stuff. And of course, it made her husband wealthy, who was investing in stuff.
And I would think it interesting, as you mentioned, the Chinese connection, that the main guys that came over from the House of Representatives included the Chinese shill.
Yeah, the Fang banger.
Swalwell.
Yeah. He's the shot.
What's he doing there?
He's the little China girl. They put him on the stage. My little China girl. My name's Swalwell.
Or Swallowwell is the way
woo.
The right likes to portray him.
And just a few things we'll just touch briefly on China. Reddit raised another $250 million. That is Chinese money, I want to point out. They already took $300 million from Chinese investors. And my favorite that I just learned today, the hot thing that everyone's talking about, the hot platform, which is Clubhouse. I'm sure you've heard the Clubhouse vibe.
Oh, yeah.
So now I've been invited to Clubhouse. I'm not interested.
Out of the blue.
It's a platform. I'm not interested in it at all. It's like fine. It's something you can get kicked off of. And they're making the typical mistake of, come listen to celebrities, talk with celebrities, Elon Musk. No one's going to give a shit if you don't stack it full with celebrities. But here's what's interesting. The technology behind Clubhouse is owned by Agora. Agora is a Chinese company. a Chinese company is hosting these chats, and you're just giving them everything, including your address book, because you can't invite anybody unless you give them access to your address book. This is Chinese spying on your conversations, you idiots. Stop immediately.
You know what I find fascinating in all this? It began with TikTok.
Yeah.
Is that when did the American coders take a back seat to Chinese coders? Plenty of TikTok like products before TikTok ever showed up.
Sure we did. Yeah, absolutely.
But all of a sudden, the guys who do it best is TikTok.
Yeah.
They have a huge audience, a huge market, and they add a little twists to it that work. So when did we take a back seat to Chinese coders? American coders, oh, we're the best. We got the most nerds. No, apparently the Chinese have the most nerds.
Shall I tell you what I think?
What do you think?
I believe, that is my thinking, that American coders are still too ethical. So when they put an algo in place, they have in their mind equity, equality, got to give everyone a fair voice. The Chinese go, fuck it, this guy's hilarious. Put him at the top all the time. In fact, I've been very irked by
Confucius
rules. Confucius say, algo put him top. That's what's happening.
That would have got us fired right there.
Tell me that isn't happening. Tell me that isn't exactly what's going on. They've got, we have to have enough people of color on the homepage. We have to have enough women represented. TikTok goes, that dude who smashes his face, that's hilarious. Play it over and over again for everybody. Yeah. How simple is that to understand? But this algo, I think, is being abused. And Tina and I have an argument over this. I'm telling her, I'm saying this is not just a viral video. This is either the Feta Cheese Council of Finland. It is some organization is making money off of this. If you have not seen it, this is just one. I believe it's the original of the TikTok Feta pasta viral video.
Let's make baked feta pasta. Add your cherry tomatoes and olive oil to a baking dish. Then add some black pepper and give them a good toss until they're well combined. Then you're going to add a block of feta cheese right in the middle, another drizzle of olive oil, and the star of the show, some white wine. Bake this at 400 degrees for 30 minutes until the cheese is soft and the tomatoes are juicy. Give them a good mash, stir in your pasta of choice, and finish it off with some fresh basil.
So this is now, there's thousands of these replicated. And it starts, hey guys, here's a great recipe. You've never thought of this. You put some feta cheese in and you bake it at 350 and you got pasta.
What was your initial argument with Tina?
I'm telling her that she says this is just people, it's just going viral. I said, no, this has got to be a campaign. It's
agree
everywhere.
With you, by the way, but who did you attribute this to? I thought you said Finland.
Well, yes, because it's feta.
Finland?
Yes, I'll tell you why. It's feta cheese, and according to the virality of the rumor and the story, it came out of Finland, and it was so popular that Finland ran out of feta cheese.
Finland doesn't make feta cheese.
I'm just telling you what the story is, but it must be a distraction. But somewhere there's a feta company who's laughing their ass off, and I just can't find who it is. And Tina says, no, this is just how it works. This is, people are doing this because they saw it.
She's the PR expert.
Yeah, I know.
And you're the viral expert. And so you have this battle of the
battle
titans,
of the experts.
I would say that. Oh, here's what I would say. I've kind of slowly, I just switched allegiances.
Oh,
no! And I have to say it because of this. I'm a big feta. I love feta. I go to a Russian store to get some good Bulgarian feta that comes in a little thing. It's got it's the right kind of feta. And the feta is a Greek cheese that the Bulgarians make the best. And everybody knows who eats this feta knows that Bulgarian feta. And it's made from sheep's milk. The Bulgarians haven't got a clue how to market anything, and neither do the Greeks.
I'm just wondering, there's got to be some feta council
Well, if there is, it's newly formed, and they are making bank.
And they're great. They're great. But anyway, don't tell me people are worried about the world in shambles. They're making feta.
But by the way, here's the thing about it. I think the Finns have some right to be concerned if they like feta and they use it.
Yeah.
If you're using, this is from a user perspective. The amount of
wait, hold on. A feta user?
I'm a feta user.
Did you sign the TOS or the EULA?
No, I'm grandfathered in.
Oh, okay.
So the using feta in this manner that you describe would wipe out the feta production for the world, because feta is a cheese. You get a block of it, and it takes a month, maybe 2 months to get rid of it. You crumble it in some salad. You put a thin slice over something. I mean, you don't use a block of feta for one dish. We're going to run out of feta. The feta is a rare product.
So there you go. That was the original story. Finland's out of feta. They're running the price up. Calls on feta.
Yeah, a call on feta would be a good idea if you could do it. But so that's okay. I'm going to still side with Tina a bit because I don't see anybody behind this. I think if you could prove somebody was behind it, then boom, you win.
That's why I'm bringing it to the discussion, because I cannot find. I may be wrong. I may be wrong.
And by the way, the best PR, the absolute best, finest PR in the world, you'll never find a person behind it.
If it's really good, yeah. Somehow I don't think the Bulgarians and the Greeks have us duped on this.
The Bulgarians give a crap.
As much as I love them all, but... And I will tell you, it is a quite tasty dish. We did make it.
You made it?
We made it, yeah.
And you used a whole block of feta?
A whole block of feta. I know.
Ay.
I know, it's abusive towards feta. But yeah, the whole block. It was delicious.
You know, I've made spaghetti with just a normal spaghetti with a handmade sauce, and when I don't have Parmesan or something I would normally put over it to make it traditional, I will occasionally crumble feta over the pasta.
Sure.
And I always get the response from the audience is, you put too much feta in this thing.
The audience.
So I can't imagine what it tastes like with a block of feta.
It tastes good. It's rich. It's rich. I'll tell you that.
I bet.
A couple other things just need to discuss before we move on. The No Agenda analysis of the Kobe Bryant helicopter crash was spot on.
As expected.
Yes. A lot of people had other ideas, but the conclusion was the pilot feeling pressure to fly the VIPs, even though he never should have left the ground, and disorientation, spatial disorientation, which is exactly what I said happened. Sad to be right, sad that it happened at all.
That's what happens all the time, you said.
Well, yes. Yeah, it happens all the time, but people usually...
VIPs are a bunch of dicks.
Oh, yeah.
Get out of here.
That happens all the time. I thought, no, you know what? I would not put that on Kobe. I would put it on the pilot. The pilot is pressuring himself.
Could be.
No, that's the problem. That is what causes death, is the pilot. The pilot is the one like, I can do this for these guys.
This
I can
is
do
like
it.
Journalists who self-censor.
Correct.
Editor never told him to do that.
Correct. Super Bowl ratings down about 10%, 10-15%, which, man, no wonder. What a bad game.
It was a terrible game.
It was like, oh, man.
It's like they're ridiculing Mahomes as the baby goat. And
well, Mahomes, man, I don't know what happened. He fell apart. Just everything fell apart with that guy. Everything. It was
well, I mean, okay, let's a couple of things for the betting class out there. Okay. They always signal for people on the inside because they can't tell everybody the game's rigged. This happened when the Tampa Bay team played the Oakland Raiders. The Raiders' real key offensive player was the center, who was this bipolar guy. That somebody got him hooked up with a hooker the night before and took him off his meds.
Oh.
And the guy didn't play in the game. He was there, had a second backup center in the game. And this is a message. It said, hello. When the 49ers, in the early days, when they were playing the first team they played with in their 5-game run where they won 5, one of the Cincinnati guards or something disappeared. Didn't play in the game. There's always something that happens that there's a giveaway that this is the
well,
team
here's what I saw. Here's what I saw. I saw two penalties that I felt were, I mean, even look at the video replay, didn't happen.
I'm not going to argue about the penalties, but I'm still trying to get to my point of what was the giveaway. In other words, the message that went out to the gambling class. Andy Reid's son, who was the linebackers coach, was arrested for drunk driving and didn't make it to the game.
That was the signal.
That was one giveaway. The other giveaways were the 2 tackles for one of them all-pro tackles, which you need on the offensive line for the Kansas City team were missing in it. One of them was injured and the other one wasn't playing. So that's number 2. There was so many messages, bet heavily on Tampa that the gambling class would have picked them up. We didn't.
No, we didn't.
We're not in the gambling class. I don't bet on sports.
I don't gamble on anything. I gamble on Bitcoin. I gamble on Bitcoin and this show, baby. That's it. I was listening to DH Unplugged. I don't know where Andrew Horowitz got the idea that the Weeknd paid for that performance. Did he miss the giant Pepsi logo and the words Pepsi halftime show? Did he miss that somehow?
Apparently. I tried to correct him. I kept telling him that
I can't.
There was I know that the Weeknd put $7 million into the show. That's well established.
Yeah. But what did he get for it? It was not an investment.
According to Horowitz, he got a lot of free PR.
Yeah. Please don't make me laugh.
I don't know. I think he got some PR.
I never heard of it.
He got PR from me. I never heard of the Weeknd.
He's been pretty popular. A couple Grammy Awards. He has been around.
I don't watch the Grammys. They're a scam.
This was by
as
far.
I recall, the Beatles and Elvis never won a Grammy.
This was by far the best sports announcing in the game. It was also, for me, the highlight of the game.
Second down, 20, 5:03 to go. Someone has run on the field. Some guy with a bra. And now he's not being chased. He's running down the middle of the 40. Arms in the air in a victory salute. He's pulling down his pants. Put up your pants, my man. Pull up those pants. He's being chased to the 30. He breaks a tackle from a security guard. The 20, down the middle, the 10, the 5. He slides at the 1, and they converge on him at the goal line. Pull up your pants. Take off the bra and be a man. And the players with hands on hips at the other end of the field are looking at him and shaking their head and saying, why, oh, why?
I thought that was so classic. A streaker.
I wish, I was watching, because of these TV over-the-air stuff, they've been playing a lot of vintage television on different channels.
By the way, that guy truly incited an erection.
Yeah, well, not from me. So, they've been playing a lot of these vintage, and they have questions on like the old match game, and the answer might be, for example, streaker.
Oh, and no one knows what that is.
I don't think people realize what that. I was thinking of doing a Substack essay on it because I was in that era of the streaker when it became very popular to usually a woman, but sometimes a guy, but usually either one, stark naked. During a football game in the 70s, and mostly in the 70s, streaking across the field at high speeds, naked, being chased by these fat guards. It was very funny to watch. They used to televise it, and then for about a year they televised it, and they said, we got to stop televising this because it's
encouraging people. Yes.
It encouraged people, and so more people were doing it. And so they took it, and this one was not televised, the guy in the bra. I never got to see it.
Oh, no, I saw it. In fact, I even got an ISO.
Pull up your pants, take off the bra, and be a man.
Yeah, that's
Maybe
that
a little
ISOs.
long.
I got ISOs too. Well, I got a similar ISO.
All right, let's do ISO off.
This is the very similar to that sexual ISO you had. This is, unfortunately, it's spelled wrong. It's just supposed to be Jones, but this is Jopne.
Yeah, okay.
I never sucked any ding-dongs.
Jeez, people have sent me that, and I've rejected it out of hand.
Not me.
Wow. All right. Well, hold on. I have a couple here.
Now they're trying to just get rid of you.
I got that one. I think this is the one you'll like, though. This one is, here we go.
Balls.
Yeah, that. It's
well, that nails
Balls.
it.
I mean, it's even got the game show.
Balls.
From Family Feud. And the only other one I have is
the science.
Yeah, no, I think Balls is funny.
Balls is good. Well, let me play. I do just as a little interlude here in Entremont. Let's play the Alex Jones ding dong clip that people sent you and you wouldn't play.
There's no video of President Trump sucking a ding dong. And so what if there was? That's a lot better than World War III, Owen. I never sucked any ding dongs. But I'll tell you, if they were going to blackmail me to start World War III about one, I'd say, hey, I sucked a golf ball through a freaking garden hose.
Didn't you already tell Der Spiegel that?
Now, the son of a bitch walked in there in my own office when I'd splattered stuff on myself and I was changing shirts. He goes, oh, that's a good shot. Let's get your shirts. And then he goes, I go, hey, have some of this chicken and sausage. So technically I said, Jones offered me his sausage. Yeah, give me a break, you son of a bitch. I like women, not men. And if I like men, I'd be proud of it. I'd have a line of them. But I ain't ever been in bed with no man. I've been in bed with probably 300 women. And you sons of bitches sit there and you play these games, and I'm sick of it.
Well, you know, if you want to have Alex Jones level success, you better start talking about your ding dong.
Alex Jones.
During the halftime, we had an interview with President Joe Biden, which was edited fluff. He had one sentence answers. It was an embarrassment to Norah O'Donnell. I feel that she put her name on that. It was just like, really, I mean, please. And then, of course, we've got to bring up Hunter. And Joe almost lost it.
New tonight, President Biden also discussed his son, Hunter.
You know, I'll bet there's not a family you know that doesn't have somebody in the family that had a drug problem or an alcohol problem.
Hunter addresses those problems in a new memoir.
But the honesty with which he stepped forward and talked about the problem and the hope, that it gave me hope reading it. I mean, it was like, my boy's back. You know what I mean? Anyway, I'm sorry to get so personal.
Man, it's so transparent. Someone's in trouble. Call up the boys over there at the PR desk at the agency. Write him a book. You got it, boss. Memoir. When did he have time to write this? On the plane? On the plane to China? I mean, what exactly?
CIA writing division did it.
Yes. That's what it seems like to me.
They do good work.
Sticking with the CBS, and as we transform a little bit into what's going on with the COVIDs, the WHO has done their investigation of the Wuhan lab theory.
Tonight, investigators with the World Health Organization are shooting down the theory that the coronavirus was leaked from a lab in Wuhan, China. They say the virus likely jumped to humans from an animal.
Yeah, that's what they say.
That's what they've said.
They talked to Maria van Kerkhoven. She's the Dutch woman who was always on the Starfleet command there when they do their video. And Tedros says, good morning, good noon, good afternoon, good evening. Hello, everybody. I'm Dr. Tedros. Another point of firing right there. And she talked about the investigation. And you can barely hear she's Dutch, I might add. Her English is impeccable. It's got a little twang there that you can hear, but I'm very impressed.
World Health Organization investigators, a year after the outbreak began in China, have now been allowed in to look at what happened on the ground. Is this just a show by the Chinese government?
No, it's not. In fact, we have a team of 10 international scientists. You call them investigators, but indeed they're scientists from a number of different technical fields, as well as people from WHO, my colleagues, and we have colleagues from FAO and OIE who are supporting the mission as well. And these are studies that are ongoing to find the virus origins and understand the intermediate hosts. What were the zoonotic origins of this pandemic? And this is really, really critical from a public health perspective, so that we know and we can take steps further to prevent this from happening again. There are very good discussions that are having on the ground. There are constructive exchanges between this international team from 10 different countries, as well as the Chinese counterparts, looking at the earliest cases, looking at studies from the markets. They've had visits to hospitals. They've had visits to laboratories, including the Wuhan Institute of Virology, as well as visiting different levels of the Chinese Centers for Disease Control. So we're hoping for the report as soon as possible, and that will be made available as soon as it can be.
Mm-hmm. Blah, blah, blah. By the way, you got your little search engine there. Look for clips.
Mm-hmm.
Look up zoonotic.
Yep. Let's do a little pronunciation.
Zoonotic. Zoonotic. When a disease is transferred to humans from animals, it is said to be zoonotic.
And what did she say?
But indeed, they're scientists from a number of different technical fields, as well as people from WHO, my colleagues, and we have colleagues from FAO and OIE who are supporting the mission as well. And these are studies that are ongoing to find the virus origin.
Is this just a show by the Chinese government?
No, it's not. In fact, we have a team of 10 international scientists. You call them investigators, but indeed they're scientists from a number of different technical fields, as well as people from WHO, my colleagues, and we have colleagues from FAO and OIE who are supporting the mission as well. And these are studies that are ongoing to find the virus origins and understand the intermediate hosts. What were the zoonotic origins of this?
Zoonotic. She says zoonotic.
Yeah.
Zoonotic.
So she is in the field, and she says zoonotic. Well, that disqualifies her. You're gone. She's out. No, that disqualifies her. Get rid of her.
When I first saw the word, I thought it was zoonotic.
No, we've learned that is not the way you pronounce it.
No, it's zoonotic.
Yes, we have the clip. We have the receipts right here.
And then you can tell by that guy's voice that he knows how to pronounce it.
Yes, and this was January. When
I had made that clip in January in anticipation.
Yes.
Zoonotic.
Here's Scott Gottlieb. He is former FDA chief for, I believe, Obama, and he's been in big pharma, and he's back. And what does he have to say?
I asked the doctor about the probe underway in China. From your view, how important is it to know the origins of the first strain that we learned of with COVID-19 in China?
Well, look, I think it's important from a political standpoint, and I think it's important from a public health standpoint, so we know what the risk is.
Notice how political is more important than public health, knowing where the heck it came from. Okay.
Future transmission for future.
Go back and play that again.
Okay.
In China.
Well, look, I think it's important from a political standpoint, and I think it's important from a public health standpoint, so we know what the risk is for future transmission.
He's starting with the politics. I can't avoid it. That's
what
fucked
he did.
up. Yeah. Oh, thanks, Scott.
Future jumps from zoonotic sources into the human population, and we kind of better understand the risk from coronaviruses more generally. I don't think we're going to find out, and we're certainly not going to be able to find out with any level of certainty that's going to put to rest some of the speculation that this could have been a lab source. Now, most people believe that this was a zoonotic source. You know as well as I do, there's still speculation, even in the government, that it could have been from an accident in a laboratory. We know that Wuhan laboratory was doing a lot of experimentation, had a big repository of coronaviruses. I don't expect that the WHO mission is going to firmly put that to rest. We would need access to the source strains. I suspect they're not going to get that. That information, if it's available, the Chinese government would have that, and so far they have not made that available.
Still no source strains.
Meanwhile, by the way, that's a great clip because it points out a number of things. in denial of the official word after all was said and done by the WHO that there's no reason to suspect the lab and we're not even going to go there anymore.
That's right. Yeah.
And now the Chinese are trying to slip in another, because they can't find the zoonotic source, because they can't find it because it doesn't exist, is why they can't find it. I mean, this virus spreads all over the world like wildfire, but they can't find one animal with it native to the animal, the bat, or that stupid looking
pangolin.
The pangolin, crazy pangolin, poor thing. It's the kind of pet everyone wants, and they can't find the source. But the thing spreads like wildfire in the human population. It makes zero sense whatsoever. So it has to be in that lab. It's the only thing that makes sense.
Yeah. Well.
So the Chinese have got a new one. Everyone's looking in the wrong place because the virus actually came in to China into the market on some frozen meat.
Oh no!
From outside the country.
Oh, have you
heard the frozen meat theory?
No, but I found another theory. Damn it! Which was maybe we should be looking at Italy. I'm going to blame it on the Italians.
That was an old theory. That was an older theory.
They brought it back.
Well, it makes nothing but sense.
Yeah. I like the frozen meat.
Yeah, frozen meat.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Perfect. Yeah, that's how viruses live, right?
That's the way they go. They go frozen on some meat. Somebody sneezed on the meat. Gets frozen.
All right. All right. So in the UK, as we now strive to get out, actually, let me give you a little rundown here of what's going on around the world. Angela Merkel, she is warning about the new mutations already present in Germany.
It's Merkel, not Markle.
Did I say Merkel? No, maybe Angela Merkel
on the brain. What
it sounded wrong. It sounded wrong. Angela Merkel. She says the mutations, quote, may destroy any success already achieved by a months-long lockdown. I support the fact that when it comes to further openings and reopenings, we have decided on the basis of these new mutations not to give dates, but to give infection rates. So they're just going to say, your infection rate's too high. Stay locked down. Christina's locked down mid-March. It's just continuing. It's not going to stop. Curfew, 9:30 p.m.
in Germany.
She's in Holland. I've said many times, the Netherlands follows the Germans. Lockstep. Schnell. Mach schnell. The government is aiming for an infection rate of 35 new infections per 100,000 people in the past 7 days. That will be their number, which is now, it is lower than the previous rate of 50 per 100,000, which was considered necessary to allow for contact tracing to function. So they're just, they got nowhere. They got nothing else to do. They have to do this. They're completely locked in.
What idiots.
In Utah, yet another state which has decided to change the way they report the tests or the way they do the tests. They reported on Monday a 15.4% infected oozing humans, which is their version of, PCR showed something. Now, that is the people over people method, which is only counting unique people who have tested positive. Monday, the health department for the state introduced a new method, and they're now going to the test over test method. So let's pay attention to these terms. People over people, old way, test over test, and lo and behold, it's 7.3%. So I expect this to happen in states where they need to show this. This is just the new way to show the numbers, and once again, you're being hoodwinked. But the best story is something I've talked about many times on this show. The 11-city skating competition, the Elfstedentocht. In the Netherlands, whenever they get a cold snap, which they've had for almost a week, they bring up the fact that there could be this 11-city canal natural ice skating competition, which has not been held, and I was there the last time, has not been held for 24 years. And they have committees in every little town. They have special ice measuring committees. So everyone's all jitty about it. And they're like, oh, we think we can do it this year because it's really a massive cold snap they've got. And the government said, no. We can't have that. No, people will die. An outdoor skating event. No, not going to happen. This is Britain has now reiterated if you fail to quarantine, you will be branded as a quarantine dodger.
A quarantine dodger.
Yes. If you come from...
It sounds like a baseball team.
The quarantine dodgers. I like that. Yeah, let's put that down. Quarantine dodgers. Notice how quarantine starts with a Q. It's interesting. If you are from if you're an immigrant, I think it's specifically immigrants, but don't worry, citizens, you'll get it too. You can be fined £10,000 if you are a quarantine dodger and 10 years in jail. Woohoo! 10 years in jail.
Oh man, these people are sick. It's sick.
Yeah, and Joe Biden is just moving right. I'm sorry, President Biden moving right along. 52 executive orders so far. Could there be one for domestic air travel?
We want to go now to the World Health Organization's COVID-19 lead. That's Dr. Maria Van Kerkhove.
There she is
joins
again.
us from Geneva, Switzerland.
The lady who is an expert in zoonotics.
Good to have you with us, Doctor.
Hi, Margaret. Thanks for having me.
You're an epidemiologist. You specialize in zoonotics, which means you know a lot about how these viruses...
She specializes in it, John. She doesn't even know how to say it herself.
She specializes in zoonotics and can't pronounce it.
Hi, Margaret. Thanks for having me.
You're an epidemiologist.
I've been a chemist for a number of years. I do analytical chemistry.
Stop it. You're turning the show into a chouse.
Specialize in zoonotics, which means you know a lot about how these viruses jump between species like COVID did. These new variants, you've described them as a combination of mutations all at the same time. What does that mean?
Well, these viruses change all the time, and every time they replicate, the more they spread, the more changes that they can have. These are called mutations. Ooh. These are individual changes in the genome itself. These variants have had a combination of mutations, which mean a number of mutations identified at the same time. And so that means that this clustering of these mutations happening at the same time are quite different than individual level mutations. And we've had 3 such variants being reported, actually 4 such variants being reported in the last few months. The first in Denmark, the second reported from the United Kingdom, the third from South Africa, and the fourth from Brazil.
There you go. And you know what that's going to lead towards, of course. But first, let's just keep it with the lockdown situation. British Columbia, the provincial health officer in BC, her name is Dr. Bonnie Henry. She is doctor. And she's taking calls. Everyone's seen the Cuomo thing. Like, yeah, I'll just take some calls on the YouTube while I do my thing, and I'll tell everybody what's going on. I don't know if she realizes what she's saying here, or if she's some kind of freedom fighter in disguise, or the truth just wants to come out. But there was a question that came in, and she answered it very truthfully.
Yes, hi. I'm asking a question today about the varying numbers of crowd sizes that have been applied across provinces in Canada. We're getting questions about it. Why is it 5 in Ontario and 50 here? And are we looking at reducing the sizes, given that people keep breaking that?
Yeah, so we also had that discussion on our special advisory committee call on Sunday across the country. And, you know, it really is about right now, all gatherings are off the table. We're all in that place where any time we get together with more than our household members or our families, we're putting ourselves at risk. And particularly if we're going to be in contact with people who are older or more likely to have severe illness. So when I talk about 50, that's for, mass gatherings, for events, for things that are happening in the community. And I am reticent to go, none of these are based on scientific evidence. There's some evidence in that some modeling that Alberta has done that shows that 18, if you have less than 18, your probability of having a case may be less, and so they went with 15. But the bottom line is, none of this really is based on science.
Okay, thanks. If I lived in British Columbia, I'd be like, okay, I'm not going to stay home. It's not based on science. What are you doing? It's not based on science. It can
She's right.
Yeah, it can only be based on politics.
She's right. It's not based on science. There's no science about any of this.
Nope.
Which is that column I just wrote for the Substack about science bullcrap.
Which is why everyone should read the 30 Threats, because this is what the Chinese figured out. And they've been doing this, the shaming, the lockdowns, all of that. This is, they have a lot of experience with this. It's Chinese torture. Taking us back in time, quick call back to Bill Gates. Before we had the vaccine, he did discuss potential side effects. I'd like to remind everybody.
Bill, the data showed that everybody with a high dose had a side effect.
Yeah, but some of that is not dramatic where, it's just, super painful. But yes, we need to make sure there's not severe side effects.
It's just super painful. Don't worry about it. Well, it has a name.
Local healthcare worker Lauren Lose is one of many people across the country who reached out to me after my story about Nicole Kephardt's reaction to the Moderna vaccine.
I noticed a small kind of circular rash appeared on my arm.
After seeing the rash on Nicole's arm, Lauren realized she wasn't alone.
I'm actually heartened and sad for them because it's a bummer.
They're in a small percentage of people who, after receiving usually the Moderna vaccine, experience a delayed reaction, typically 8 or more days after the shot.
I noticed this circle on my arm that was about 2.5 inches in diameter. And then it started growing and I got pretty anxious about it.
Dr. Justin Jin, an infectious disease physician at Providence Portland Medical Center, says this is a known reaction. 244 Moderna vaccine trial participants, less than 1%, experienced COVID arm, as it's dubbed, after the first dose, even less after the second.
COVID arm. Well, that
there's
makes
a super
sense.
clip floating around about COVID. I was going to send it over.
I have it, but it's not really a super clip.
It's not a good clip. No. This guy's too much.
It's a lot. It's from that report.
It's not tight enough. Yeah.
No, I tried. I tried tightening it up, and it's just it wasn't. Yeah, it was not a. I have supercuts. That, I'm sorry, was just not a supercut.
It's a new phenomena. I don't know.
You get mutations either singly or clustered in combinations, which do have an impact.
A faster spread. It takes less virus to cause an infection.
But this one has more mutations than any variant we've seen before.
Mutation report. We have an update from Herr Fauci.
We've been asked questions often. Well, if you have these variants and they seem to be eluding the vaccine a little, should we really be getting vaccines, or should we wait for the next generation of vaccines? The answer is you need to get vaccinated when it becomes available as quickly and as expeditiously as possible throughout the country. And the reason for that is that there is a fact that permeates virology, and that is that viruses cannot mutate if they don't replicate. And if you stop their replication by vaccinating widely and not giving the virus an open playing field to continue to respond to the pressures that you put on it, you will not get mutations. So when we're looking at what we have here in the United States as well as globally, when we talk about efficiently and getting these vaccines out there and into people as quickly as we possibly can, not only are you going to protect individuals from getting disease, not only are you going to protect them from getting infected, but you are going to prevent the emergence of variants here in our country. And when you look at the global situation, which is the reason why we want to make sure we're part of a global community, and we recently have joined the COVAX, which is a consortium to get people vaccinated throughout the world, is that the only way we're going to completely stop mutants is if we stop this throughout the world.
Okay. I'm not a scientist, not a doctor. A lot of what he said there sound like total bullcrap to me. Makes like not based in science at all. He mixes up variants with mutants and does all this stuff. And the end of the story is, you need vaccine, more vaccine. And I think these guys are maybe even doing a psychological operation to get people comfortable with the idea that mutants will need vaccines. Variants need a new vaccine. Vaccine variants. It's so bad that Kramer on MSNBC, I don't even know if this guy's a gaffer or if the truth is coming out.
where this is all headed?
Well, look, I think it's worldwide. We're catching it here. There's need some more good news. We don't have it. We still want to know about stimulus. The variants, the vaccine variants that we're having trouble with, I think are very much on people's minds.
Vaccine variants. I like it. Not flu variants or virus variants.
Yeah, it's kind of, you got an opposite taking place because we've been collecting. You have been collecting people saying virus for vaccine, but now they're saying vaccine for virus.
But he's also saying vaccine variants. I believe that we will have variants of the vaccine.
It's a scam.
It is. It's so bad. Well, listen, all I know is you want this vaccine. You want it because now it's coming out what's really happening to people who had the COVID, and you should pay attention to your family. I know your kid had this, so be on the lookout for these symptoms.
And there's new information about the lingering effects of the coronavirus. A study finds 20% of COVID survivors have experienced brain-related problems, including memory loss and difficulty paying attention.
Yeah, nice. They're just throwing that out there.
Just in case.
Just in case. That's right.
A friend of mine who's in France has pointed out to me that the French media has kind of flipped the script just maybe as a test. He's not sure. But they've now starting, the French media is promoting hydroxychloroquine.
Uh-oh. Sacre bleu.
Out of the blue. I mean, this, of course,
this will not stand.
The success of the African countries not catching this disease and making it go crazy down there because of that hydroxychloroquine element.
So they're promoting that actively.
Yeah.
They're breaking with the world order.
You know, they're breaking with the new world order. What are you doing?
Yeah. Klaus will not be happy. I do have a couple of, let me just run down some stories here. So the main push that we're going to see now, this is from Associated Press, Biden's next fight. Anti-vaxxers jeopardize plans to protect U.S. against COVID. This is the next fight. This is where everyone's going to be deplatformed. And we started yesterday with Robert Kennedy Jr. He has been kicked off Instagram for his...
Why would Robert Kennedy Jr., of all people, one of the great experts in the field, and a nice guy, get kicked off Instagram by Facebook?
I will quote from Instagram. A spokeshole for Facebook. Quote, "We removed this account for repeatedly sharing debunked claims about the coronavirus or vaccines." The term debunked there shows such horse shit from these people.
I love the term debunked.
You can debunk anything. Doesn't mean
I debunked you a number of times.
And I felt good about it. In fact, debunk me again, big boy. I'm digging it.
Get off the air.
He's gone. He's off. But also, Axios reporting that Biden's solid economic blueprint really only works if the vaccine. Yeah, that's what it is. Here it is. Biden.
And by the way, the date, is that in the memo? A solid economic blueprint? Where'd you get that?
It's the headline. The headline from Axios.
How is it solid? It hasn't even been tested. All Biden's doing is signing, executive orders left and right.
It says Biden's solid economic blueprint.
Why is it solid? Who says it's solid?
Axios. Hold on, I'm going to find out for you.
Oh, Axios. Oh, Loren Jobs says it's solid.
Yeah, she says it's solid. Exactly.
I've got a bunch of clips about one of her other operations.
Yeah. Well, no, we're going to have to take a break before we get to that. Hold on. I got a few more things. I got a few more things. I
got one more thing on COVID. So
is it about
you're looking around?
I'm doing vaccines. I'm doing vaccines here. I'm doing vaccines. I want to tell you.
More important than vaccines.
I want to tell you there's two more important stories, and then you can finish up. One,
kick to the curb.
An Iranian cleric has claimed people who are vaccinated for COVID.
This is an important story.
Yes, it is. For this show, it is. People who have been Iran's regime. Ayatollah Abbas Tabrizian wrote on his Telegram social media platform, "Don't go near those who have had the COVID vaccine. They have become homosexuals." Tina and I had dinner with the official No Agenda married gays on.
Okay, that sounds good.
Yeah, they were in Austin. Jake and Tom, and they've. If you recall, Jake used to be a quite famous gospel singer, and he has like pictures of him in the gayest jumpsuit ever. And we talked about this on the show when he donated a while back in December. He was very successful. And then he got outed or something. He was no longer a gospel singer. But I wish I had known this about the vaccine for our dinner and didn't have a chance to discuss it.
Brought it up.
And
I'll tell you. You know what this story about the Ayatollah calls for?
No. Oh, ladies and gentlemen, I've got Pabst Blue Ribbon on my mind. And with that, I'd like to thank you for your courage. Say in the morning to you, the man who put the C in COVID arm. Ladies and gentlemen, John C. Dvorak.
All right. We do have a few people to thank for today's show.
Yes.
If I can get the mouse to work.
Hello, mouse.
Come here, mouse. Come here.
The mouse is striking back at you for, you know why.
No, I don't know why.
Because you said no one would ever want to use it. That's why it's striking back at you.
Yeah, it's got beer all over it. All right, Dave Fugazota's at the top of the list today.
Uh-oh.
He wins. Dave wins today's show.
And Dave still locked down in Saudi Arabia somewhere. He's now been there for, I think, 2 life sentences, if I'm not mistaken.
He's been there. He's not going back after this.
Man. Well, the whole family wants to move out there.
Well, if you get a good place, it's probably cheap. $428.42. Gasoline's cheap. I know that.
Yeah.
He wants to wish a happy Valentine's Day. Somebody does this, by the way. He's the only one, I think, every year.
No, there's 1 or 2 more, I think. 1 or 2 more that I saw.
To Dames Melody and Isabella with a combined donation, $214.21 for each of them. How I still miss them. Just a couple of days before my departure, the kingdom, as it is referred, was kind enough to shut down travel to protect the country from the mutants.
Yes.
Fortunately, they expect the country to open up again sometime around 17th of May. Just in time for the Eid al-Fitr celebrations. We all should have our next 60-day notice of termination by then as well. So that's sort of awesome. So he's getting terminated and rehired and terminated and rehired. This is something that Pacific Gas used to do. Because it keeps you from having to build up equity in the retirement funds.
Oh, really now?
Some sort of a scam, yeah. So this is, it's a scam.
Oh, bastards.
It was a trick that PG&E came up with years ago. And I talked to a PG&E guy about it. I says, yeah, so I won't be, is he going to be back to fix it? No, I'm going to be off for a week because they're going to fire me. I'll be rehired after that. And I said, what? And he explained it. Forgive my cynicism. We still have a lot to be thankful for, and I keep trying to remind myself of that. However, I think that the terrifically terrible Terrier travel karma should not actually be used for travel. Sad face emoji.
Oh, right. Because it didn't work.
I guess not. Please, okay, well, we make a note. We make notes on these things.
We do.
Please give my beloved bride an awesome offspring a very special Valentine's Day Goat Scream and the Bingo Boom Shakalaka remix. Thank you for your courage, Dave.
Thank you very much, Dave. And love and kisses go out to Dame Melody and Dame Isabella because it's been very hard for them.
It's ludicrous.
It is. It is. It is ludicrous. Oh, a second. I got to get my scream. Why the goat scream somehow left the building? Here we go.
Dingo boom boom chakalaka boom 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 chakalaka boom boom.
You've got karma.
All right. Woohoo!
You got the next note because Dude Walkman, who gave 334 from Parts Unknown, wants you to read the note. By the way, should mention that we had the same situation, and we failed to recognize it because it was not on the spreadsheet for, it's our...
C-Mike.
C-Mike. And I want to apologize to C-Mike and his lovely wife, smoking hot wife.
Yes. Yeah. And also, I would like to say along with that please realize that the notes we read are courtesy. We love it if it's extra content. If you're setting up something with, like a marriage proposal and you're going to have this done on the stream, not that that's what this was, on this, whatever it is, you can't count on us for that. We are notoriously horrible at doing that kind of stuff. And often a note can get caught up in us joking around, and if that's not what you intended, then it might not turn out that great. So please, keep that in mind. We're here to give you the best media deconstruction. We love reading your notes; they're incredibly important to us. But if you have some ulterior thing, we're just bad at it. Would that be fair?
That's not what we do. What we do is the show. This is a courtesy that we do here.
Yes.
And a tradition. It's a tradition because we find there's a lot of notes that have good material in them, but some of the notes don't.
Right. Anyway. Okay, so here the issue is that he wants me to read this note. I got it. We saw that, but I still have to queue up all of his jingles, which is why I am talking.
Doesn't like to do it. That's why Adam doesn't. Adam will read notes on and off.
Yeah.
But the problem is that when I'm reading the notes, he's queuing up the jingle so we can move this along a little bit instead of sitting around on our butts.
Yes.
And so now he's got to do dual service. and I can't do that for him.
Here we go.
I can stall.
Hey, guys. Biden's whole ode, Tourette's guy, Fauci Wee's, Yoko Ono. As you read this donation, my keeper and I will be knee-deep in California prepping my brother-in-law to Cal exit due to a sudden medical condition. I'm sorry to hear that. The hospital is already attempting to slow our plan of escape, so we sure could use some R2-D2 karma. On a positive note, while shopping at a local Whole Foods, an old tip surfaced deep within my fading yet sober brain. This tip is from an old No Agenda show and warrants repeating. John's advice to expeditious supermarket checkout, ? Find the black clerk. Yes. Oh, man. For those newcomers who didn't know, locate that No Agenda episode. This would be a fun game in future No Agenda donation segments. Drop various tips and tricks learned from the best pod in the universe. Anyways, hey, I'm going to stop these violations, by the way. As she, the black clerk, worked efficient to move products via conveyor, I deployed the next tip termed a conversation starter. Asked her what she thought about Bezos and that big eye. It caught her by surprise, and wouldn't you know it, the entire store stopped in lockstep as she wailed laughing. Mission accomplished, and took my points. Don't forget my R2-D2 karma, and bye, Duke Walkman.
I'm going to give you the whole load today.
Thank you, Chairman Nadler, Ranking Member Collins, members of the committee. First of all, I must say I have Tourette syndrome. Sometimes I have tics and make sounds I can't control, so please forgive me.
There we go.
You've got karma.
Nightmare jingles. Nightmare. All right.
Find the black clerk.
Yeah.
Yes, I said that on the show because it turns out that
it's true.
It's true.
It's true. That's all true.
They seem to work faster. Jason Bible in Austin, Texas, down the street from Adam, $333.33 in the morning. Appreciate your dedication to breaking down the M5M shit show. I recently heard Crackpot on Rogan back in March of last year and haven't missed an episode since. I do have a question.
Rogan donation.
There you go.
Over the previous 13, 19 episodes, one or two particular time really stands out. Yeah, go to episode 200.5, whatever it is.
0.7.
I think it was 7. Look for two. There's a two. Here's what we did. We did show 200. The original one was an outline of how we started the show. And then we kept updating it as 200.1, 0.2, 0.3, 0.4, 0.5. I think you can listen to any one of them. And they're entertaining. And it's old, very old. I know that your long-awaited week for our office coming, and one of these days when it happens, I need to be able to get my twice-weekly fix. We'll give you new stuff. We do new shows when we take time off.
Yes, we do.
They're clip shows of a sort, or somebody else puts it together, but they're all very good. Mm-hmm. And I'm working on a whole show of nothing but global warming clips, debunking global warming.
Debunking? Oh my goodness!
Well, there'll be both, but the debunking ones will be the better. I'll just take some goat karma. Thank you for your courage and keep up the good work, JB and the ATX.
Also, I may have forgotten to thank Duke Walkman for that $3.34 donation with all the jingles. I thought I said Duke Walkman at the back, but just in case. And there was a request for JCD Fisting Nuts jingle. Too long, but we have shorter versions now.
Then he makes a fist around the nuts.
You've got karma.
Jeff Phelps next on the list, 333.33. And these are people that I hopefully joined in for the producer donation. Two of them all together. I'm not one to drop a line, but this is important. My wife has masterfully dived, and dodged my no-agenda haymakers for years until now. Our family had a breakthrough, and it only took a miracle, the creation of vaccines in a record-setting time by no less than 13 different companies. Yay! Little girl, yay here.
I was ready.
More specifically, she is having a small meltdown fueled by the complete lack of knowledge that new ultra-refrigeration units simply do not show up in hospitals and clinics unannounced until now. That's interesting.
Huh.
This is not JIT manufacturing, folks, or is it? She happens to be boots on the ground in a number of facilities that receive new units without much fanfare during a time when you can't even get an effing dishwasher delivered on time. Please welcome the newbie with open arms and finally a red pill. This donation gets her 1/3 of the way to damehood and enlightenment.
Nice.
P.S. Is there a wine list? If so, please add me.
There's a wine list?
There's one.
There's a wine list?
A mailing list. Mailing list.
By the way, Josh and Jake and Tom, big fans of your wine stuff. Huge fans.
What's Tom's?
Jake and Tom.
Jake and Tom. Oh, your two buddies. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, good.
Yeah, huge. It's like more wine.
It's funny because I got one for you. I had a wine from Australia called Mrs. Q.
Really now?
I said, well, this is great. Mrs. Q, it's like Q. And so Cabernet Sauvignon, 14.5% alcohol, by the way, which is, you
high.
See that?
That's high, isn't it?
It's a little high.
Yeah.
And as expected,
you got
headache
hammered.
Ensued.
Yeah, exactly. Get hammered.
No, you don't get hammered. You get a headache.
Costco had some Pinot, which I haven't tried yet. It was amongst all the $25 bottles. It was $9. I'm like, that's got to be one of those.
Well, where's it from? And what was the brand?
I don't remember the brand. It's downstairs, California, and it was a 2018.
Yeah. It's
I just thought because it was in the middle, I thought maybe that's one of those Easter eggs you're always talking about.
Yeah, sure.
Well, I'm sorry. I guess only you can find those.
No. It's just they usually they don't ditch the Easter eggs. They usually hide in plain sight. But that one sounds like it was attempted to be ditched. Or
it's just a piece of shit
wine. Try it tonight and then report back.
I will. Of course, I'm going to.
Sir David Wilson, meanwhile, won't get any of that wine. He's in Minerva, Queensland, 333. Not only would I like some relationship karma, he writes, I want to call out a Valentine. That's number 2.
Here we go.
Dear Elizabeth, you are the most beautiful woman in the world to me. You are an absolute smoke show, and I respect and admire you a great deal. I love you. Regards, Sir David Wilson.
Aww.
There you go.
That's beautiful. Here's a love karma for you.
You've got karma.
The doctors are in.
It's two. We got two today.
That's right.
Matt Litsky in Tinley Park, Illinois, 330. No jingles, just karma. Gentlemen, good old American drag racing is 13.
Oh, we missed an opportunity. Episode 1320. 1,320 feet for the drag race.
Yeah.
Where's RuPaul when you need him?
I've been around racing my whole life and had to donate for this show. 330 is this is it. This is the donation that would have been a winner.
Yep.
330 is a quarter of 1320.
Oh, my goodness.
Where one of the timers is on a drag strip. He's one of them. This is one of the timers had to be moved up. I'm close to knighthood time to do some accounting. Thank you.
Yo, I'm going to give him a karma for that because he's definitely thinking on the ball.
You've got karma.
That. Thank you very much.
Yeah, it's better if somebody tells us in advance.
Yep.
Sir Brian Lowe in St. Joseph, Missouri, $250. I'm now whatever comes after knight, which is a baronet. I think it's effeminate and generally avoided, the baronet. I'm not that insecure, so call me whatever, below. Anyway, my previous messages, and we appreciate the use of the word anyway.
Yes.
My previous messages have requested relationship karma, business karma, job karma. I'm engaged to be married. I own a bar. Someday I close the bar. I accepted an offer for a new job that's 100% remote. I owe Adam a job. You apparently own the karma jingle more than us. Also, and all those other positive for those and other positive thoughts. I'm literally winning the lottery on the daily. Thank you. Love you in the morning. Karma for everyone and no jingles. Thank you two again so much.
Nice. Thank you.
You've got karma.
Here's another one. Let me do this one. Sir Ever of the What from Linwood, Michigan, $234.56. The coveted 23456 from Sir Ever What. Happy Valentine's Day to my bride of 40 years. We never had an argument that involved weapons. WTF. How good is it when a government senior official says, I take full responsibility. In my world, you resign or get fired. No jingles, no karma. I don't know why he confused that with his Valentine's message, but I'm sure it came from the heart.
Not sure, but that's three. Chris Burney in Austin, Texas, 23432. And hey, guys. Once again, please attribute this attribution to my smoking hot wife who is well on her way to damehood. So we have to do a switcheroo.
Kelly.
But he doesn't have her name.
Yeah, he does.
Oh, no, it is.
Kelly.
No.
Kelly.
Where?
It says right there. My smoking hot wife.
Oh, I'm sorry, Kelly. It was right there. I read right over it. Mm-hmm. Well, it's my pleasure and duty as her loving husband to fund her quest. I personally am languishing as a douchebag. I'm counting on her to save me. Get your shit together, babe. Also, a shout out to my loving mother-in-law, Mary Ann Burkett, who has a crush on Adam. Great job, boys. And bye. Bye.
You know, I think I had COVID.
I had a mother-in-law.
No, wait. We both, okay, this is, whatever you have is rubbing off on me and I don't like it.
What is it?
We forgot to thank the troll room, to talk about No Agenda Social, forgot to thank the artist.
Well, let's do it right after we're done with this list.
But what's wrong with us?
That's your job.
Oh.
Christina Henry in Mishawaka, Indiana, 213. And besides, you said we move it around a little bit. It's just like this.
Thousands of episodes, we've never done this. No, we're not. You cannot change the format of Whole Foods overnight.
No, they don't. They do one shelf. You see this at Costco. They'll have you go there. You go there. There's where the bags are. There's where the bags are. There's where the garbage bags are. Where the garbage bags go? Oh, they're in the back now. You have to move things around in the store. Otherwise, rats will nest.
Good. From now on, we do it that way. We don't want rats nesting around this show.
We don't want rats.
We do not.
Nesting. Behind the cornmeal. Okay. Let's go back to Christina. And she's in Indiana, $213. ITM, John and Adam. Please credit this donation to my smoking hot younger husband, Charlie. He works in the snow removal business.
Wow.
That's a good business.
Is booming.
His birthday is Saturday, and it always snows on his birthday. Huh. She's in Indiana, and it's okay. Well, it could be.
It could definitely.
So he is in serious need of a de-douching.
We got it.
You've been de-douched.
He'll never donate for himself unless I get the ball rolling, as he is saving up for his dream golf trip to Bandon Dunes this summer. We're former Roganites who have since upgraded to no agenda cult status.
Nice.
Sorry, Joe.
Cult status.
With cult status, that's a status. That's just below Dame.
Yeah, it's a real status.
Thank you both for keeping us sane. If you could play a Charlie Rose sexuality in your DNA, and that's true for his, not Charlie Rose's, the other Charlie, for his birthday, it would be much appreciated. Thank you for your courage, Christina Henry, in Mishawaka. Indiana.
Right. So we need to put that one over. So this credit goes to Charlie, correct?
That's what it says. She has to switcheroo.
Oops, sorry. I don't want to step on what she wanted here.
Tell me about the sexuality. It's in your DNA.
That's true.
There you go.
That was creepy. Hans Jacquez in Miramar, Florida, $202.02. Hey, guys. Long-time listener here. He wants the annoying YouTuber voice. Is that your voice?
No, I think that's all you, John.
Do I do an annoying YouTuber voice? Hey, guys. Long-time listener here. Around 2009, I hit my friend Jose from the NYPD in the mouth, but he remains a douchebag.
Uh-oh. So we got to call him out.
Douchebag.
Yeah.
He's been listening around since March 2020 during the start of the pandemic, or the plandemic, and I'm certain the show has helped a lot keeping his amygdala healthy. May episode 13, we need the whole New York Police Department listening to this show.
No kidding.
Boys. May episode 1320 mark the Bitcoin bull run to $100,000. And please add this associate executive producer donation to my knighthood. A jingle request, Goat Scream, followed by AJ's turning frogs gay. And he's got a little accounting thing here. Yeah. You do that yourself.
All right, Hans. Yeah, definitely. We got that covered for you.
Oh, he needs an invite to no... Oh, sorry. He does need an invite to No Agenda Social.
Okay. We'll talk about how you could do that in just a moment.
I don't like them putting chemicals in the water that turn the friggin' frogs gay.
Classic.
Classic indeed. Nicholas Lindsay in Aloha, Oregon, 200. Please credit this donation. Another switcheroo.
Oh, my goodness.
There's 3 of them.
And it's nice. These got to be also kind of Valentine's Day related, it feels like.
Please credit. It doesn't say, though. No. Please credit this donation to my cousin Joshua Reed, who hit me in the mouth right before the vid broke loose. This donation is for his birthday on February 10th. What's vid?
The COVID.
Oh, the vid. Oh, I see. COVID, vid. I could use that. The donation is for his birthday. We got him on the list at this point because I'm a bit late. He's turned 33. Another one. Anyways, please send all the karma you got our way, as we have to hope Dictator Brown won't shut Oregon back down after her 2-week trial run of opening back up. Thank you for all you do.
That is in fact a Chinese torture strategy. It's in the 30 Threats
in the
article.
Book,
you let people out, you give them a little taste, and you pull them back in, and they're extra compliant the second time around.
Nice.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so it needs a bit of karma. Yes, we got that.
You've got karma.
And we have another change on the next line, I see.
Scott Reinhardt in Sioux Rapids, Iowa, 200 even. This donation is a Valentine's gift. That's number 4. For my smoking hot wife, Caroline. We aren't even Valentine's Day yet. That's Sunday. Valentine's Day is Sunday.
You're doing great.
I don't want her to be a douchebag. I can live with it for myself for now, being a douchebag. We were hit in the mouth by George and Chris Thiessen, yes, whom I believe to be douchebags.
Well,
I don't know.
I mean, I've
heard their names.
Yes,
before.
I don't want to douche anyone if it's not warranted.
You said you believe them to be douchebags. You have to know them to be douchebags.
You can't just like whirl the douchebag if you.
But we'll give the credit to your wife.
Yes, done. Carla, she's getting it. She's getting
Carla,
the whole load.
She's getting the whole load. Dame Nurse Caitlin, by the way, in Goldsboro, North Carolina, $200. She's great. She's right. I think she's the one who writes us notes once in a while, giving us tips, giving us the scoop, giving us the
boots on the ground.
Hi guys, Dame Nurse Caitlin is checking in to report this crazy BS survey that was sent to us at work. See attached. I don't have it. I work at a local. I'll go look it up. I work at a local hospital connected to a much larger body here in North Carolina, but I couldn't believe this. The world is losing its collective minds, but thankfully you all helped me keep mine in check. I can't repay you enough. P.S. I'm eligible for a title upgrade. I've surpassed the 2,000 mark. You'll be a baronetess.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she's on the list, I believe.
She appears to be, yes.
Yeah.
I remain Nurse Caitlin with whatever title is now appropriate. Thanks, boys. P.S. Our COVID unit in my hospital currently only has 16 patients, just for your information.
Surprise, surprise.
That's pretty common. Some are just empty. Nikki and the Lucky Dogs is last on our list at $200. I remember Nikki and the Lucky Dogs. I want to remind all listeners that stress kills. A stay in a Lucky Dog sanctuary vacation rental might save your life and definitely help save pets' lives. At Lucky Dog, we have a lot of pets, and we have no agenda. Visit us at LJK9 with a number 9, LJK9.com. That's LJK and the number 9.com. Thanks. Health Karma would be appreciated.
Nikki and the Lucky Dogs. Here you go.
You've got karma.
All right.
And that is our group of donators and well-wishers, executive, associate, executive producers. And now we can talk about the art.
No. First, I would like to say in the morning to the troll room, who were the ones that reminded me that we had skipped the art. So, in the morning there, trolls, hands up. I hope you didn't leave after you didn't get counted. Let's see what we got there today. Yep. I was afraid of it. 1676, down. They left.
That's way down. And you know what that number represents?
Yeah, me not thanking them on time, and they all left.
It represents what the pre-COVID numbers.
No. We're this. I don't know. We'll see. I think they got pissed off and left. That's what trolls do. If they don't get the chance, they leave. Well, anyway, for those trolls who are there, enjoy more people coming in because they can go to noagendastream.com and you can log right in. You can troll along with everybody during the live shows. There's a live stream to listen to, which also has repeats of shows and podcasts that galore. And if you want to get that coveted noagendasocial.com invite, that's the place to do it. Don't ask me. No. Go to noagendastream.com, ask them there, or you can hit up people on the street, go to a meetup, say, I want an invite for noagendasocial.com, and they will give it to you while stocks last, because we are going to...
That's true. That's a good point. This is actually while stocks last.
Yeah.
You're going to close...
At 10,000. Yeah.
And unless somebody quits, you won't be able to get in.
Or if you kill somebody, then I guess you could move in and take their place.
Yeah.
It's just a thought. And that is our non-algoized federated social network where you can get high signal to noise ratio in conversations. And it's a good play. People love hanging out there. Adam and John also hang out there. Adam at noagendasocial.com. John C. Dvorak at noagendasocial.com. And now we get to the artist part where we thank the artist who brought us the artwork for episode 1319. We called that Cluster 5, and this was Social Silencer, who brought us just a humorous little thing related to the show. It was the Fun Shopper that we talked about.
Fun shopping.
Yeah, Fun Shopper. Fun shopping. Well, they kind of did Social Silencer did a version of that, and that was the Dutch forbidding Fun Shopper. This is a thing now. The gay said it to me too. Hey, where can we go fun shopper here in Austin? Really? Was there anything else that we looked at? I thought there was some other art.
I don't really remember, so I can't tell you.
Mm-hmm. Let me take a look what we had. So we had the fun shopper. We had what else did we have? We had there's a lot of Super Bowl stuff, which we didn't really feel like.
Yeah, we didn't. I don't know what. I'm the one mostly that didn't feel like it.
Yeah, it wasn't enough of an item, really. And there
we didn't talk about it.
No, there just wasn't.
There's a number of variations of fun shopping. There's a couple of the missing balls.
Yeah.
Which was kind of lewd. I mean, it was funny, but...
You know what this is? You know what this is? You know what this is? Pre-COVID art.
It's pre-COVID art.
You just coined it, so I'm just going to run with it.
We're going pre-COVID.
If you want to see some of the art that we're discussing and have a fine list of chapters that you can jump around or go back to if you want to learn something, you could do it with any of these Podcasting 2.0 certified apps. You can find them at newpodcastapps.com. And thank you, Dreb Scott, for doing these chapters. As a side note, if you want to participate, if you want to create chapters and upload funny artwork, you could do that. Just get the app Hypercatcher, hypercatcher.com. I think it's iOS only, but then you can, right there while you're listening, you can say, oh, this would be cool. And you hit a button and it uploads and Dreb Scott takes care of the rest. It's beautiful.
I want to make a comment.
Mm-hmm.
There's new artists that come in and they try to get in here, and there's two of them in particular that are already submitted.
Okay.
And you can't use extremely small type. This art has to be readable, so you shouldn't really have. There's two art pieces on here. Quarantine Dodger being one of them, and the other one being the I don't know what it's called. Both of them are called Quarantine Dodger, and they got art. They got lettering on there that I can't see.
It's too small. Yeah,
too small.
So the artwork that you see on the page at No Agenda Art Generator, not when you go into it, not when you go large in to see the individual image, but those smaller ones. That's pretty much what it is on phones.
And it can be
everything.
Smaller.
Yeah, exactly.
So you got to have it's got to be readable.
Yes.
Especially if it's a joke.
Yeah. And often that just doesn't work at all. But we want to thank Social Silencer once again. I believe this was Social Silencer's first win. I'm looking at other things. No, I don't think we used. He's got, didn't see anything else.
I'm close.
Yeah, but it was good. It was good. NoAgendaArtGenerator.com. Any artist can participate. You just go there, you upload it, select a template if you want to, and you too can be a contestant in this mad race to be criticized by Adam and John. People love it. It's really fantastic.
To be slammed.
And that's all part of our value for value system. The show is produced by you. This is the big thing that everyone's missing. If they ever invited us to a conference to say, how do you do it without ads? We say, well, you start by deputizing everybody and giving them the responsibility of being a producer. There's no other way to do it whatsoever. And
people get to be they get to pretend to be real commercial artists and have somebody just condemn their work.
It's not even pretend.
That's right. We're not pretending.
I'm not pretending. It's the way a real business works. And maybe this is the business of the future. So we require only three things: time, talent, or treasure. And again, thank you to the executive producers for today's episodes and associate executive producers. Titles you can now display proudly that you produced that episode 1320 of the best podcast in the universe. Everybody can do this, participate, and you can do it. You can just join us. If you want to do it for Sunday, go to this web address.
Dvorak.org/NA.
And again, thanks to all for your time, your talent, your treasure producing the No Agenda Show.
Our formula is this. We go out, we hit people in the mouth. Order.
Shut up, slave.
Shut up, slave.
And I did want to mention that I believe it is today that we celebrate the first anniversary of Flattening the Curve for 2 weeks. It was
so we can all be off and back to normal on Easter. Yes.
Little did we know it would be a flu etat that came in to grab us. The biosecurity state
for Easter. I guess maybe they meant Easter of this year.
Yeah.
I do have one COVID clip I want to get out of the way.
Okay.
Which is important.
Always.
This is the double mask, and this is from yesterday.
On the pandemic, the CDC now says that wearing 2 face masks or 1 tightly fitted mask is more effective in blocking COVID-19. New research released today showed that exposure can be reduced by 95%, more than twice what a single mask achieves. The CDC head...
Hold up. No, keep going. Let play. I made a mistake.
What a single mask achieves. The CDC head, Dr. Rochelle Walensky, spoke at a virtual briefing.
The science is clear.
I don't think so.
Everyone needs to be wearing a mask when they are in public or when they are in their own home, but with people who do not live in their household. This is especially true with our ongoing concern about new variants spreading in the United States.
The new advice on masks came as the nationwide death toll from COVID-19 passed 470,000.
Again,
okay.
But before this I wanted to say something about this because they spend so much time on this double masking bull, triple masking bull crap. I cannot find a single instance of a health professional that people are supposed to trust, any official anywhere worldwide who has said, in addition, I'm fine with that. In addition to strapping pieces of cloth on your face and tying it up with masking tape like an idiot, here are some other things you can do to strengthen your immunity. Never, ever, ever have they done it. Not once. Tell you to exercise, eat the right kinds of foods, vitamin D3. None of that. Never, ever, because they want you to be a sick, infested human that they pump full with their money-making crap.
Before you, well spoken. Now, you got to go back and you got to go back and kind of hear what they said in that clip, because now it's like, what are you talking about? She said that the double mask, according to the new research, was made 95% effective, twice as effective as one mask, which means
the masks are defective.
Is only 42.5% effective?
Why don't they make masks that work well?
Wait a minute. They said one mask is only 40. What?
No,
I thought it was effective.
They're not saying that.
I thought you had 2 people with masks.
They're not saying that.
That's what she said, exactly.
No, you're extrapolating that. She said 2 masks are 95%. She didn't say it's double.
Yes.
Okay, let me hear it again.
On the pandemic, the CDC now says that wearing 2 face masks or 1 tightly fitted mask is more effective in blocking COVID-19. New research released today showed that exposure can be reduced by 95%, more than twice what a single mask achieves.
You're right. Well, why do they recommend these crap masks? They're defective.
Twice as effective, meaning they're not, these 42.5% is not very effective.
No, but I don't understand. Can't we have masks that are just effective? Why?
Yeah, 95, tightly fit.
And now this.
Oh, you know what the next I just saw the memos coming out. You're going to have to wear gaffer's tape across the nose and mouth.
Here's a report regarding this.
Hospitals in Washington state are scrambling to pull hundreds of thousands of potentially counterfeit N95 masks out of circulation. The maker of the real mask is 3M, which alerted Homeland Security after finding the fakes. The company says it's hard to tell the real ones from the fake ones.
If you look closely at the writing on the mask, it says 3N as in Nancy. The quality of the inside of the mask is not as good as the authorized respirator mask.
It was
the Chinese are hilarious.
It was right next to the Channel bag and the Rolexer watches.
The Rolexer. 3N.
Who procured that at the hospital is what I want to know.
There's an old joke that went around in the 60s when everyone was made in Japan. It was a song. It was made in Japan. Everything was supposed to be shoddy, like early Chinese stuff, shoddy, and some of the current stuff too.
Sure.
And so somebody supposedly changed the name of a Japanese town to USA.
USA, yeah, as in USA, USA.
USA, and they would put made in USA.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a bunch of products supposedly flying around the United States that were made in USA, and it was a big scandal. I think it's just bullcrap story, but 3N, I don't know, maybe it wasn't.
Now, when was
maybe
this?
The Chinese think of changing the town to USA.
When was this USA story? Do you remember?
In the 60s?
You sure it wasn't the 70s? And I'll tell you why.
The 70s.
Because you said that, and in my head, I heard my father make a joke to my mom when I was a kid, so it must have been either late 60s or early 70s, and it was about made in USA.
It could be. It could have been early 70s.
Kind of the same story about the made in USA.
It was, but I remember, but it had to be for it to work. It had to be during the era where Japanese products were shoddy.
Mm.
And that was the pre-domination of Toyota and when the Japanese finally started kicking it up a notch or sending us good product.
Yeah.
It was when there's just the toys and crap were coming from Japan that were junk.
Made in USA. Okay.
USA. Well, the Chinese can take a page out of the Japanese playbook.
Well, from the Japanese playbook, I'd like to go back to the Chinese playbook because that is what CNN, the Chinese news network, is doing. And Jake Tapper, we've got to look into Jake Tapper, man. How did he get so incredibly compromised? Is he really on an actual payroll the way he's going? I mean, it's crazy. Here he is excoriating Trump supporters.
Today, 1 month and 1 day after the attack, after that storm hit the Capitol, we are again warning. If there is no accountability and no attempt by the Republican Party to stop these insane lies that have taken root in their party, witness the support this week by the House Republicans for bigot and conspiracy theorist Marjorie Taylor Greene, the Congresswoman from Georgia. If there's no effort at accountability, this is not going to be the end of MAGA terrorism.
Hey!
This will only be the beginning.
MAGA terrorism.
Told you. They're going after everybody who supported Trump, everybody who says anything negative about vaccines, and they know where you are and who you are. We talked about the New York Times having been given exfiltrated data from one of these, I suspect, social media companies. They gave personal identifying information to the New York Times with location information so that they could track and dox and identify people who were there. And it's now being used shamelessly by the mainstream media.
According to a New York Times opinion piece, about 40% of the phones tracked near the rally stage on the National Mall during the speeches were also found in and around the Capitol during the siege. Quote, a clear link between those who'd listened to the president and his allies and then marched on the building.
Yeah, this is not over. When Trump goes, it's not going to be over. I think that's when the true hunt will be on. And just since I'm going to draw parallels between the Chinese Communist Party and our current administration to a degree, certainly CNN. I'm quite convinced that they are on the take. No proof, but that'll all pop out. And why don't we just look ahead in the future?
No, there's proof by example.
Yeah.
There's no proof.
Proof by example, yes, proof by example. And here's the example that will be set by the social media networks. Already we know, even if you're Robert F. Kennedy Jr., your understanding, your analysis of vaccines are not valid. They're debunked offhand, and so off you go. The Epoch Times, who hate the Chinese Communist Party, they report on the next step, which is being taken, and which I think we can expect here.
The Chinese Communist Party has further tightened its control over speech, information, and public opinion by announcing restrictions on what is allowed on Chinese social media. The country's social media platforms recently issued notices to users requiring them to obtain Internet News Information Service licenses. Otherwise, they will be banned from commenting on politics, economics, the military, diplomacy, and other major news. According to these notices, if a user does not have a license, they are advised not to compile, publish, comment, or interpret any information on current affairs. The notices from Internet service companies Sohu and Baidu are more forceful. They clearly state that users are now required not to post or share such information without approval, and claim the purpose is to discipline unregulated online commentators.
And a note to Epic Times, if you ever want to jazz up your media presentations, let us know. Now, this is...
You know, the Epic Times, or Epoch is the way I always
like
pronounce it,
Epoch.
but they pronounce it
I
Epic.
like saying Epoch, too, yeah.
I like Epoch better, but yes, they go through all this trouble, they get all this money, and they put together a newspaper that's actually working, and they've got all these then they put out the lamest presentations. Find a professional or a pretty girl with a nice voice, and put her on. I mean, there's a million things you can do, but you put some dud on there. Doesn't work.
I even had to take out a couple of things. It was so lame. It's bad. So the United...
Our motto, by the way, our motto, Adam and I have a motto. Don't be lame.
It is a motto that we've stuck to. You can be a lot of things. Don't be lame.
It works.
Don't be lame.
It works.
Now, let's look at some U.S. clampdown that's taking place. We know that there is one, and we've got everything under control, the way I see it. We got Twitter. Twitter kicked off the President of the United States is making sure you can't post anything about vaccines or about variants or anything really political or medical. You just kicked off. I don't have a Facebook account, but I think it's pretty much the same. And we know that what happened with Instagram. And there's really one place left that for some reason, they can't control. It's becoming very, very annoying to those that control the speech. ProPublica, journalist, I say that with some emphasis, Lydia DePillis, wrote quite an article about the evilness of podcasting. That's what you and I do. Yes, podcasting, because they can't control it. There is no social control over what these damn podcasters are saying. Oh, and this is a problem, and Apple is not being cooperative.
So how can it be that this kind of junk is allowed on Apple's podcast app, right, but not on Twitter, not on YouTube? What's the difference here?
Yeah, well, in America, we have this policy where we allow tech platforms to make their own rules as to what content they will allow. And
what a crazy country. Can you believe that, John? We have these weird rules in America where we let people decide what they want to do. And they're not like China, where this woman clearly takes her cues from, where the government tells everybody, we got rules and regs.
Yeah, well, in America, we have this policy where we allow tech platforms to make their own rules as to what content they will allow. And the thing with podcasts is that it's a little bit different in that a company like Apple can say, we just list podcasts. We essentially run a directory. We don't host them. So that content is actually housed somewhere else, but we allow people to access it through our platform. So there's a little bit of a dodge that they do there. But they do have terms of service that says, here's what we will and won't allow. It's just very, very loose. And so a company like YouTube, which is Google, or Twitter has actually established pretty proactive policies in terms of election misinformation, which Apple just simply doesn't do at all.
Apple is not doing it right. So, they're trying to go after Apple. Very, very light touch. Because, I actually like my iPhone. I don't want to piss anybody off. Oh, they might not get the new beta. Because that's how these a-holes think. But the worst part of this woman is what comes next. And I'll just say this woman. I say with disdain.
Let's back up again and give us, who is this woman again?
Lydia DePillis from ProPublica, which is a
ProPublica person. Okay.
Yes, a ProPublica person. Oh, they get a lot of airtime. The ProPublica people.
It's just like a group of idealist journalists.
You'll remember that David Korn launched the whole PP tape Russian collusion dossier on ProPublica.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
I think that did it. That summarizes everything.
So all the things that she's about
wait a minute,
to say
hold
next.
on.
Yeah.
So we got another situation here where journalists are bitching and moaning about free speech. In these the same journalists that don't like WikiLeaks because it reveals too many secret documents, which they should be happy to see? Or they're the same ones that slamming Snowden, or the same journalists, I'm thinking of Richard Engel in this case, who doesn't want to see the released CIA torture memo? These types of people?
Yeah.
So ProPublica is they're anti-journalists. Nice. Good for them.
She is advocating for shutting down speech that she doesn't agree with. That is her whole article. And to say, well, Apple has a dodge here because they're just an index, but they have terms and service. They're not following all that. Blah. But what blows me away is this journalist, who I'm going to presume is a technology journalist. What she says next is the biggest pile of horse crap in the world.
There's obviously been so much discussion, particularly I think you're seeing it on the conservative side, discussion about cancel culture, deplatforming, right? Where is free speech, et cetera. It seems like, as you report, it may just be a matter of time before there is a buildup of like alternative streaming universes, ones that don't depend on these tech giants at all. How hard is that, though, to actually start happening, or how likely is it?
Well, at the moment, it's very difficult. The landscape of tech platforms at the moment is pretty consolidated in that most people consume content through means that are supported by companies like Amazon through its Amazon Web Services product, or through Apple through its iPhone, or through Google through its browser. So in order to build up a tech ecosystem that is free of all those, where you could broadcast whatever content you like, then it's the kind of infrastructure that doesn't really exist right now. Sites like Gab are really straining under the weight of new traffic that they're receiving.
So this uninformed, underinformed, over-socialized twat is telling us the infrastructure doesn't really exist to set up alternatives because, you're really beholden to the App Store and Amazon Web Services. I challenge you to a debate, punk.
This is nonsense.
Look at us. We are literally
five major video sources out there now.
Thank you. One of which is noagendatube.com.
No Agenda Tube, which is, I wouldn't put in the top 5, but it's there. And then there's obviously the federated and other chat systems. And then there's things that Signal is like, and Telegraph. All these things are out there, which people are condemning them.
And how about podcastindex.org, which she's talking about podcasts.
And then the Podcast Index, by the way, which is your baby. And I'll since you can toot your own horn, but as far as I'm concerned, I'll toot it. This is the alternative of alternatives that will prevent the future demise of podcasting. And it's something you recognized about a year or two ago, probably because of this show.
Of course.
And you decided to go ahead with this podcasting 2.0, which has taken off quite nicely and eventually will be absorbed into the great system.
Ecosystem,
but she's full of crap.
Go podcasting!
But I will say this: the pathetic thing is that she's got a voice, and people are asking her, why is she even around?
Well, you know what? She is the new wave. This is the same type of person who's at the New York Times, and the same type of person who is a member of this group. This is a letter of intent from publishing professionals of the United States. Have you seen this letter yet? I'm surprised your agent Danny-O there on the coast didn't give it to you.
I probably have seen this letter. I didn't think. I don't know. Just continue, and I'll realize whether I have.
As of February 9th, 2020, 593 authors, editors, agents, and all other publishing professionals in the U.S. have signed this letter. We all love book publishing, but we have to be honest. Our country is where it is in part because publishing has chased the money and notoriety of some pretty sketchy people and has granted those same people both the imprimatur of respectability and a lot of money through sweetheart book deals. As members of the writing and publishing community of the United States...
You mean like the Obama book deal?
That would be the one. Both of them. As members of the writing and publishing community of the United States, we affirm the participation in the administration of Donald Trump must be considered a uniquely mitigating criterion for publishing houses when considering book deals. Consequently, we believe no participant in an administration that caged children, performed involuntary surgeries on captive women, and scoffed at science as millions were infected with a deadly virus should be enriched by the almost rote largesse of a big book deal. And no one who incited, suborned, instigated, or otherwise supported the January 6, 2021 coup attempt should have their philosophies remunerated and disseminated through our beloved publishing houses. Son of Sam laws exist to prevent criminals from benefiting financially from writing about their crimes, Hunter Biden memoir. In that spirit, those who enabled, promulgated, and covered up crimes against the American people should not be enriched through the coffers of publishing. We are writers, editors, journalists, agents, and professionals in multiple forms of publishing. We believe in the power of words. We've used some cool ones here. And we're tired of the industry we love enriching the monsters among us, and we will do whatever is in our power to stop it.
Yeah, this is actually kind of old. This was, I think, and I see this, everyone's scrambling right now for something else, which is the 150 names of the New York Times writers who signed off on getting that poor guy fired, the science writer, who had to talk about the N-word.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And their names are available. The names of the people that signed that document you just read, which is disgusting.
I have them in the show notes. I left them all in here.
They're all there, and they're there for everyone to see. And the names, the people, I was looking for the names of the 150 NYT New York Times reporters who signed the complaint letter to the editor. They worked there, and they wanted a fellow union member, somebody pointed out, a fellow union member fired.
Yeah.
When the management took and said, well, you're a union member, we're going to go easy on you. But the members themselves, this is terrible. This is Chinese communist kind of stuff. And we need these names. These names need to be in a database. You know, you can turn to books on everybody else and say, well, we're going to go out and get everybody and shame them and make them wear, Trump shame hats and dunce caps and the rest. But let's put these other guys' names in the database while we're at it, and maybe that'll become useful someday. Well, these people should all be put in a name. You can turn the tables on this Chinese communist idea. You got your name out there. Okay, you're in the database now. The other one.
It's so bad that French politicians, prominent intellectuals, and academics are voicing concern that the out-of-control leftism and cancel culture from the United States is threatening French identity.
Oh, that's not good.
When the French start bitching about your culture, you got a problem.
With the French.
You got it. I got some cool social justice warrior stories just to run through real quick. Stuff that can and cannot happen. I think the best noodle gun. Let me put get a noodle gun. I think the best noodle gun that I've heard so far has got to be Bruce Springsteen. The Jeep has pulled his Super Bowl ad following a revelation that he was arrested for a DWI in New Jersey last year. So they've pulled his ad, which, quite honestly, I'll never look at a Jeep again. Bruce Springsteen's the guy who said, if Trump wins again, I'm moving to Australia. Hey, Mr. Jersey, blow me. I'm glad you lost that deal. What an idiot. Such a disappointment, that man. Disappointment. Nurses in hospitals, yeah, this is a problem, in the United Kingdom are no longer to use words such as breastfeeding and breast milk. Instead, the National Health Service Trust has requested they use human milk or chest milk. Because, men can breastfeed too. Do you see?
I'd like to get some of that chest milk.
Yes, it's coming right up. Coming right up for you. Let's see, what else did we have? Oh, this is kind of cool. The cops in Beverly Hills are tired of citizens Instagramming them at every, videotaping them at every single traffic stop or anything they make. And particularly in Beverly Hills, there's a lot of Karens running around. So they figured out a way to thwart this. When someone shows up and they start filming them, they immediately throw on some music and start playing the music loudly through their phone speaker. And the reason why is if it's a hit song, the YouTube and Instagram algorithms will delete the video because of the music royalty rights.
Genius.
Isn't that a good one?
I'm gonna shoot you in the face with my noodle gun, you racist piece of shit.
Yes.
I got my pasta Glock locked and loaded.
Take that, noodle boy.
I wanted to play my Mary Graber clips.
All right.
She's the one who did the book Debunking. There's that word again. Debunking Zin, which is the People's History of America. And she had a bunch of, now we played one clip, which I believe was the Mary Graber 1, which was long clip. So let's go. And that was about how this Zin book is very inaccurate, and it's become very popular to read.
Yeah, can you just explain the Zin book for people who don't remember?
This is called The People's History of America. It's pushed hard in the schools. It came out in 1980, and it gives an alternative history of the United States, showing, and it's kind of linked in slightly with the 1619 Project. It relates American history with specific instances of how we're a bunch of bastards, and all of our great leaders are a bunch of creeps, and the whole United States is a bunch of losers. And it's well written. And somebody said, "Well, you said it yourself was well." When I mean well written, by that I meant it was easy to read, and people could easily read it and become. I saw it around the time it first came out, and I thought it was very poorly sourced and very questionable. She found that there was instances and she researched re-engineered the book backwards and found instances where he would literally do a ellipsis quote. This is where you see it. You see a quote, and then the guy said ... You're an a-hole.
Oh, so taking the context out of the quote.
Well, not only in his case, there would be when the ellipsis showed up, there would be 10 pages missing. She found one with 30 pages between the first part of the sentence and the last part of the sentence.
Well, it's valid. 3 dots. 3 dots, 10 pages.
So this book has become a plague. Now, somebody wrote me saying this goes way back. In fact, I started looking into it too. I think the Zin book came out at a time to validate, which I recall in the late 60s, was a underground socialist movement that took place during the era of the hippies. And the name to start looking into, and people should go back to this because it crops up again. In fact, he's the guy who invented a form of sociology called critical theory, which has evolved into critical race theory.
Oh, interesting.
And the name of the guy, and because I remember it very clearly, because all the girls at Cal, they were all like, they had some crush on this character. And his name was Herbert Marcuse. And any old timer out there that's listening, they go, "Oh, Herbert Marcuse, yeah, that guy. He's part of a huge school of German, I would call them neo-Marxists, but they weren't communists, but they were communists, but they weren't communists. A neo-Marxist movement that took place, which became the new left in the 60s and 70s, and it's never gone away, and it's pretty much what's taken over at the moment, except we haven't been able to push it back much. But the Zinn book comes out in 1980, and that just it just seals the deal. It's got every little thing you need in there to convince people that we're just a bunch of bad people in the United States, and our history should be ignored. Which reminds me of the saying, no nation will survive when the children are taught to hate their country, which is what's going on.
That's what this book was about.
And that's what the book was about. So she does this other book. Now, that's the background. So let's play some of her clips so you can hear some of the, let's try this one. This is Graber on racism and the Zinn communists.
America is the most racist nation in all of history, that we basically invented racism.
Woo! Yeah, Howard Zinn promotes that view. And again, that is the Communist Project. When the Communist Party USA was set up in the United States in New York City in 1919, that was one of their first objectives. They saw racism, which there was, and segregation as the weak point in American society. And of course, there has been racism and prejudice and xenophobia, throughout history everywhere. And it was in the United States among different groups as well. There's the Irish and the Italians, and, there are always group conflicts. But the communists saw this as an opportunity for exploitation, and that's what Howard Zinn does. Now, the communists presented themselves to many black Americans as offering a way out of their oppression. And, of course, they presented communism as a way to overcome racism and prejudice. And that, of course, was not the case at all. What the communists were doing was exploiting blacks, and often to the point of death. And for the most part, African Americans saw through this. I mean, they didn't fall for it. But Howard Zinn promotes that message. So he presents a few people who were dupes of the communists and presents them as these path-breaking heroes, black heroes, when in fact they weren't.
Wow, so he was from the Frankfurt School.
Yes, you were looking at it.
Yeah, well, I just wanted to read it just to give your sequence here a little more. The Frankfurt theorist proposed that social theory was inadequate for explaining the turbulent political factionalism and reactionary politics, critical of capitalism and of Marxism, Leninism. No, that's not what I wanted to read. Here it is. The Frankfurt School perspective of critical investigation is based on Freudian, Marxist, and Hegelian premises of idealist philosophy. Oh, my God. These guys came straight out of Weimar.
So, exactly. At Bauhaus.
Yes.
So let's,
Bauhaus, straight out of Weimar. It's like the new Compton, straight out of Weimar, baby.
So let's listen to her little commentary about the 1619 project. This is my favorite clip in the group.
I want you to expand a little bit on this 1619 project. This is a complete juxtaposition of dates. 1776 now is going to evaporate, and 1619 is going to become the date that's prevalent in everybody's mind. It's going to be predominant. That's the idea, right?
Mm-hmm. It's a reframing of American history of the founding, yes.
And you're writing a book on debunking this project.
Yeah. So the 1619 Project was a special issue of the New York Times Magazine that came out in August of 2019. And the creator of that is a New York Times writer named Nicole Hannah Jones, and she presumably thought up this thing, and she wrote the lead essay. And so the issue contains her essay, which has a number of gross distortions of history, just like Howard Zinn does. It also contains other articles and poems and photographs. And the argument behind it is that the first arrival of slaves here who stayed is really the founding of the country, and that the words in the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution really had no meaning until, Black Americans led the way and showed white America how to really implement those ideals and make them real, which is a term that she uses. That also is a Marxist view. She has expressed her admiration for Fidel Castro. A lot of what she writes and tweets is Marxist in orientation.
Yeah, the only I'd like this clip. Mo and I have done a whole episode on the 1619 Project, but I really, it's too bad, she says, or the guy says, you're going to debunk this. We just went through excoriating people for using that word. There needs to be a better word for what she's doing. Disprove, perhaps? Discredit?
Yeah, she uses debunk in her title, so it's pretty hard to change.
I don't like it.
Yeah, it never bothers me. There's a couple more clips. You want to listen to these?
Yeah, I'm interested.
Here she is on Columbus. It's kind of interesting.
Yes, Columbus.
And by the way, the writer, the producer sent bitching to me about using any of her stuff because there's predated material that's better. I still see the Zinn book as the one that's most coincident with the Columbus hatred. Because I don't remember when I was a kid.
No.
I went to Cal Berkeley, there was no Columbus hatred.
This is something of the past 10, 15 years. I think
it started in 1980. It's 40 years ago.
Shoot, man. No. I mean, I was in New York all the way up through 2000. And I live near Columbus Circle. So I think it's more
West
recent.
Coast,
I can't speak for the West Coast. It could be.
I still remember seeing anti-Columbus art at Amsterdam Art in Berkeley, and I can't quite get the date when I saw
Berkeley,
the art.
That's your own little time capsule up there, I'm sure. Anyway, let's hear what she has to say, because this is such bunk.
In my own web explorations, I ran across the phrase, they would make fine servants, talking about the Indians. With 50 men, we could subjugate them all and make them do whatever we want. I read that over and over again before I ever knew about Howard Zinn, before I ever saw your book, before I ever saw your article on the web. And so you see this over and over again and you think, wow, is this really what Christopher Columbus wrote in his log? That's pretty damning.
Yeah. Well, that's where you've got the ellipses. And ellipses, is, if you can remember from your writing courses, is, those 3 or 4 dots. And we know that they're there if you just simply want to shorten a quotation. And the words that you leave out do not change the fundamental meanings. And at the most, if you have those 4 ellipses, it's, a sentence or 2. Well, what Howard Zinn leaves out is pages, 2 days worth of log entries between those ellipses. And so he's leaving out critical information and passages that say, I believe that we can convert them to our Christian faith more by love than by force. Howard Zinn doesn't doesn't want the reader to know that Christopher Columbus wanted to convert by love. That would upset the propagandistic line that he is promoting. So he deceptively quotes that way. And people will still, I mean, it's very sad, they will quote Howard Zinn quoting Columbus, and they will say, see, this is right from his log. You know, I got into a debate with a columnist at the New Haven newspaper, and even when I told him that what he was he had just discovered Howard Zinn and wrote this column for Columbus Day, I said, look, this is what he left out. He didn't believe me. He said, no, this is what Christopher Columbus wrote. And it's so deceptive.
He also was responsible for another term we're using these days. This guy's very influential when you hear this. Howard Zinn described himself as, quote, something of an anarchist, something of a socialist, perhaps more a democratic socialist.
Duh. I didn't know that one.
Is he the father of democratic socialism? Or the DSA? Do they study his book at the Democratic Socialist of America Party?
Disgusting. Guys, 2 more clips.
Yeah, sure, let's do it. It's good.
This is a gray bar on Zinn's advice.
Zinn's advice.
And when he talks about the Civil War, he claims that, Abraham Lincoln was not the great emancipator. He, didn't care about blacks, that he didn't care about slavery. And he presents this view of America as basically that blacks are still enslaved, that nothing has freed blacks, that the civil rights movement did no good, emancipation did no good, that there is cause, so he's writing, in post-60s, there is cause for rioting, and he's always presenting the idea of socialism as the cure for racial discrepancies. And so he presents this very hopeless situation, and his message is, you cannot get ahead in the American system because it is so racist and so corrupt that it will keep beating you down, which of course is absolutely the wrong message you want to give to young people, especially if they're struggling. The message is, don't even try. The system is going to beat you down. Instead of trying, working hard, studying, the message is, go out into the street and revolt.
Wow, they should have this guy on T-shirts.
And vote Democrat.
Yeah. Oh, man.
All right.
And I love this guy. He's like, you can't make it in racist America, said the old white dude. He's dead now. He's dead. But still, still dead. The old white dude who was very successful. Ugh.
So now this is the last and scariest clip, because this is going on as we speak.
And how does that work with Obama as president and Kamala Harris as vice president? How does that work with this unsuccessful, and you can't do it if you're, it's because America's so racist. I'm just trying to understand the logic.
I don't know. Ask them.
Yeah.
This is the Zinn educational program. This is the part that's disturbing.
His influence is not waning at all. And I want you to talk a little bit about the Zinn Educational Project, because this is taking Zinn and multiplying him all over the world.
Oh, yeah. So the Zinn Education Project was started by one of his adoring students at Boston University. And this man, ironically, went out and made a lot of money in the tech industry and decided to, as he said it, give back, and donated money to start the Zinn Education Project. And it's a place where teachers can go get free downloadable lessons. They're all very political. They're based on Howard Zinn's People's History of the United States and other books that he's written. They have exercises for discussing current events, such as the election. They have demonized President Trump and everyone who supports him. They are overtly political, overtly revolutionary, and so they are spreading the poison of Howard Zinn's history. They're doing it for free. And one of the latest things that's going on is in Mississippi, the governor has, I don't know if they've already allocated this, but he's implementing or wants to implement history education that would be truthful, that would discuss the founders and American history in the non-Marxist way, and patriotically. And so one of the campaigns that the Zinn Education Project is on, and they do this every time anyone wants to reform education, is they appeal to teachers. They send out free copies of Howard Zinn's book. They have these letter writing campaigns, and so they not only produce these classroom materials, but they produce these campaigns. And when I spoke at the White House conference, they went and attacked me. They didn't address at all what I said about Howard Zinn's book in my book. They simply called me someone who was out there attacking Howard Zinn as if, I was just attacking him personally.
Wow, this is very interesting, especially the Zinn Education Project.
Yeah, that's the one that concerns me. I mean, this is really not a good thing. If you notice, by the way, somebody mentioned this, and she actually talks about this. I didn't clip it, but in Good Will Hunting, Matt Damon's movie, the Robin Williams character pulls out, or one of them pulls out the Howard Zinn book from the shelf. It says, if you want to learn American history, this will open your eyes.
Right. And then, oh, my goodness, that's the way to go.
And it turns out that Matt Damon was the next door neighbor of Zinn when he was like 10, 11, when he was a kid, little kid, doing him a solid.
So while we were listening to that, I did a little bit of research. So you have the the Zinn Education Project, and I was looking at their website, zinnedproject.org. It didn't seem like much there. There are a lot about the CARES Act, and so clearly some Democrats in this. But it's here's what I always like to look at is the address. So I look up the same address as the Zinn Education Project, and I find the Teaching for Change at the exact same address, which is, here we go. This looks pretty big. Building social justice starting in the classroom. So this is the same people.
Yeah.
Let me see who's on the board. See if there's any. And this is the first time just going through this. A lot of university folks. Well, I'm going to look at this because I'm curious to see where the entities are behind this. Who are my partners? Let's see what we have under partners. That could be interesting. Oh my goodness. Oh, well, here we go. Here are just a few of the organizations that Teaching for Change partners with in our work. Africa Access, African American Civil War Memorial and Museum, Open Book Foundation, Black Lives Matter at School Week of Action, blackpast.org, Communities for Schools for Just Schools Fund. Oh my goodness! Social Justice Synergy. It is a bottomless pit. But this is where this is a good thing to look into. This is where a lot of this crap comes from. That these poor children have been miseducated. They've been miseducated. That's it. Miseducation. You've depressed me a little bit with this. I'm sad to hear this.
Yeah. It's not good news.
Well, then let me brighten it. Can we just brighten up before we thank some more people and just move away from this sadness?
Go.
I'd love your assessment, Brittany, of the Psaki era thus far. Regular briefings are great, but there have been a few times where the White House has seemed to step in it.
Well, Brian, it's been really refreshing to have briefings every day and to even know who the senior officials talking to Biden are. We were not getting that in any of the Trump years, especially in those waning days of the McEnany briefings. And it is refreshing. I do kind of put it towards like having a really bad ex-boyfriend. We were getting essentially abused by Kayleigh for so long, or at least she was calling us fake news and inciting her followers and the followers of the president to not only harass us online, but obviously go to deadly ends for some people with death threats. Now we have Jen and the entire Biden team. It's very refreshing, but it's important to remember that the bar has literally been left on the floor. Yeah. And just being able to show up and clear it isn't enough.
That's just the setup. Here's the payoff of that great new spokeshole for the White House. She's doing a great job. This one's for you, Johnny boy.
I will have to circle back on that one. That's an excellent question. I don't have any information on it in front of me. It's an excellent question. It's an excellent question. Those are excellent questions. Those are excellent questions. That's such a good question. That's a good question. This is a good question. Oh, obviously, this is a good question, which is a very good question. It's a great question, and that sounds like a great question. That's a great question. It's a great question. This is a great question. It's a great question, Katie. That's a great question. It's a great question. It is a very important question. It's a really important question. That's an important question. It's an interesting question. We all love the mailman and mailwoman. A popular and good question.
Yeah. That's a summary. It's reasonable.
But for sure, none of those were great questions.
I'm going to show my support by donating to No Agenda. Imagine all the people who could do that. Oh yeah, that'd be fab. Yeah, on No Agenda in the morning.
In fact, we have a few people to thank for show 1320.
Indeed.
As we move along, Philip Lyon Smith at the top of the list from Oakville, Ontario, Canada, 133.33. I didn't know they had oaks up there. Usually towns with the name Oak in the town name, like Oakland, or towns filled with oaks.
Or like Seven Oaks in the United Kingdom, which only has 6.
Well, most of the oaks in Oakland have gone. They ripped them out.
Yes.
It's only, Maria Cole, $102.11. She's next. She needs a de-douching.
You've been de-douched.
Got a birthday coming up. We got her on the list. Rob Van Dyke, $100. Sir Herb Lamb, Earl of Georgia in Sugar Hill, Georgia. 8008. What has he got here? He's got some note. He says, I'll read this. I heard John's comment about Stormy being a great stripper name. I actually dated a girl named Stormy that eventually worked as a stripper.
Yeah.
But went on stage by the name of Lisa.
No way. How long is that?
That's what I think. Sir Skip Logic in Spring Hill, Tennessee, 6633. Philip Sanders in Ewing, New Jersey, 6111. And there's a birthday list. Sarah Kogar in Spring Branch, Texas, 55.55. This is for Smoking Hot hubby, Jacob, for his birthday. Baron Bob of High Point, North Carolina, 55.32. And Krotsing in Kongsberg, Norway. I'm sure it's pronounced differently. Also a birthday call out. And boyfriend needs a de-douching.
Yeah, we got that.
You've been de-douched.
That's for Espen. Steve Sprague in Kennewick, Washington, is 50. This is a short list today. There's in fact a very short donation day for us, for a Thursday especially. But here's our $50 donors, name and location, starting with Steve Sprague in Kennewick, Washington. Sir Haymoose of the Piedmont Province in Mooresville, North Carolina. Sir Donald Winkler in Berlin, Deutschland. And I got a birthday call out for somebody. Jesse Hall in Friendswoods, Texas. Chrissy Schmidt in St. Francis, Wisconsin. Gerald Howard in Montclair, New Jersey. And Don's on the list. Stephen Schumach in Xenia, Ohio. Ross and Toshkoff in London, UK. Rebecca Peckham in Atlanta, Georgia, Kimberly Redmond in Toronto, Ontario, Robert Deckeny, Sir Robert in Fairfax, Virginia, Alba Dandridge in Charleston, South Carolina.
Yeah, let me just read this for a second because I think that this came in late for the cutoff. Alba says, I know this email is late. Here we go. To make the 0207 show, but I want to wish my beloved husband, Kevin Dandridge, a happy birthday on Monday the 8th. Happy birthday, my love. The $50 cuck sent does not reflect his age, but almost, as I decided donating a couple bucks extra to No Agenda. He's a loyal listener, has been so since 2009. I also became one by osmosis, and lately I've been following No Agenda posts on Telegram. We truly appreciate the work and time y'all dedicate to No Agenda, so please keep it strong. Thank you very much, Alba, and very sweet that you did that for your hubby.
Interesting. Jonathan Ferris in Liberal, Kansas, continues our $50 donation list, along with Michael Hayner in Paris, California. I don't know where Paris is. Sir Jason DeLuzio in Chatsford, Pennsylvania. And last but not least, Dean Powell. Hey, Dean! In Evansville, Indiana. I want to thank these folks for making show 1320 a possibility.
And thank you.
And a success.
Yes. And it's what all of you do. These are producers who do what they can. Also, people who have produced under $50, many for anonymity, and a lot of you are just on whatever you can, whatever value you can put out, which is, we've got great subscriptions, many ways to support the show. There's really always a way for someone to support it with your time, your talent, or your treasure. If you'd like to learn more about it, we have a donation page. It's easy to remember. Just sing along.
Dvorak.org/NA.
And just to make sure everybody gets what they need.
You've got karma.
Here is your birthday list. It is the 11th of February, 2021. We say happy birthday to Philip Sanders. Dame Catherine, happy birthday to Sir Saturday, who's turned 40 on the 8th. Alba Dandridge, you just heard her, to her beloved husband Kevin, also on the 8th. Lindsay Carson says happy birthday to her friend Alex, who turned 32 yesterday. Nicholas Lindsay's cousin Joshua Reed turned 33 yesterday as well. Sarah Kogar, happy birthday to her smoking hot hubby Jason. He celebrates 2 days. Sir Donald Winkler, happy birthday to Sage Deepening. He's 29 today. Christina Henry, happy birthday to her smoking hot younger husband Charlie, celebrating on the 13th. And finally, Gerald Howard says happy birthday to Dawn Howard, celebrating on February the 13th. Happy birthday from everybody here at the best podcast in the universe.
Title changes, turn and face the slave. Title changes, don't want to be a douchebag.
No douchebags up here as we change the title for Dame Nurse Caitlin. She becomes a baronetess today, thanks to an additional $1,000 in support of the No Agenda Show, the best podcast in the universe. We cannot thank you enough, Dame Nurse Caitlin, for your courage.
No Agenda
A couple of meetup reports. The first one is from Houston.
There's no nightings today?
No nightings. Zero, zip, nada. No nightings. Nope. I know. Well, the list was
weird.
Can I, before I go on with the meetups, so we've noticed there's something going on. After the Super Bowl, the Monday after the Sunday, I noticed, and it's been this way up until today, I've said it several times to Tina, I have much less posts on Twitter. I have less email that came in significantly, like probably 40 less than I usually see. We have at least 300 or 400 people less in the troll room. We have less donations.
Less checks.
I'm thinking something happened. We went through a wormhole.
Yeah, people lost their ass on that Super Bowl.
No, I think we lost people going through a wormhole or something. We lost people. I think the people are gone.
Well, maybe some fish came in.
No Agenda
All right, here's the first one, a report from the Houston Hackers Meetup.
This is Brian at the Houston Hacker Meetup. We have lots of new people here, and I'll pass the phone around and they can introduce themselves.
Hi, this is Andrew, first meetup in the morning.
Hi, Genevieve, first meetup.
Chris Baker, first meetup also. I came from Austin.
Margaret, first meetup. I'm a douchebag.
Uday, also first meetup, also a douchebag.
This is Albert Rainbow again for Canary Cry News Talk.
In the morning.
In the morning.
I like the hacker marathon or the hacker meetup where girls are showing up. That's kind of cool. And then Boston's Red 33. I'm not sure that this is the report they intended. It sounds like something went wrong in the mix, but I'll just play it just in case if this is what you guys intended. Sign up and make one.
ITM, this is Serpent.
ITM, Lady Butters of Narragansett Bay.
ITM, this is Sustainer. CG again.
Sign up and make
In the morning,
one.
Sir Ernesto here.
NoAgendaMeetups.com.
In the morning, it's Sir Knives of the Providence Plantations. Formerly, but still now. Yeah, I'm sticking with it. ITM, this is TJ.
In the morning, Sir Karras, Baron of Greater Boston.
In the morning, Sir Brett Mahoney.
In the morning, Sir Jin, Watcher of the Stargate, Protector of Fish.
In the morning, JJ from Cape Cod.
In the morning, this is Sir Nathan Lee. Adam and John, thank you so much.
I think something went very wrong. Whatever they were trying to do there. You might want to try a resend without the music track blaring underneath. I'm not quite sure what happened. Here is the list of meetups. These are gatherings. You can go to noagendameetups.com, schedule one yourself, find one. Easy to do, no charge. You get to hang out with cool people. With people in general, you can just talk to living, breathing human beings who might even want to talk to you without a mask on. And there's a brand new entry today, last minute, the Denver Arbitrary Rulemaking Summit. That'll be at 6 o'clock today at King Gus Lounge. Saturday on the 13th, the OKC 33 Heartbreakers meetup in Oklahoma City at 2 o'clock at Fassier Hall. Then we have the Dallas Local 972, Dallas Fort Worth Super Spreader and Loss of Liberty Celebration, also on Saturday, 6 o'clock at Snookered Billiards and Bar, no under 18, sorry. Then a special No Agenda Local 512 Valentine's Eve, Sunset Valley, Texas. That is, for all intents and purposes, Austin and Doc's backyard. That is Sir Scott and his lovely wife, the barony of the No Agenda Army, and for couples coming to the meetup, they have 25 sets of homemade truffles in 4 different flavors. They are packaging for you as a special gift if you show up. And also on Saturday, 406 Reunites, Missoula, Montana. Everybody's welcome at 3:33 p.m. at the Old Post. On the horizon, the 16th, Nashville No Agenda Lil Fauci Wee's Fans Club. Didn't know he had a fan club. On the 17th, the Houston Lockpickers. On the 20th, Backwater, Wisconsin. Springfield, Missouri Super Spreader event. Houston Raging Super Spreader Luncheon. Nashville Mandatory Producers Meeting. Flight 012 of the No Agenda, Agora Hills, California. And it goes on from there. There's a big list. It goes all the way into March. There's a lot of meetups. A lot of people want to hang out. Go to noagendameetups.com. Find one near you. Go hang out with people. If you can't find one, make one. It's easy. Noagendameetups.com. Just like a party.
Sometimes you want to go hang out with all the nights and days. You want to be where you won't be triggered or held to blame. You want to be where everybody feels the same. It's like a party.
Yowza.
Got a news item.
You do now.
Yeah, I want you to listen to this news item and tell me if this is the way you remember the way things are.
Okay.
I just thought this was peculiar. So, Larry, we don't do obits on this show much.
Well, we do. I miss Mary Wilson of the Supremes, passed away, and the person you're talking about, who I think is quite an important guy, actually.
He was, but listen to this report and tell me if the odd details match up with your memories.
And Larry Flynt, who founded Hustler magazine, has died. Flynt built a pornography empire partly on images of violence against women and fought several First Amendment battles. During one case in 1978, he was shot by a gunman and left partially paralyzed. In 1988, he won a U.S. Supreme Court fight with the Reverend Jerry Falwell, who had sued him over a parody. Larry Flynt was 78 years old.
Well,
violence against women?
Yeah, I don't remember any of that.
I don't remember that. Here's what I remember. I remember when that magazine first came out. A friend of mine was actually one of the editors there, who ended up at InfoWorld when I was at InfoWorld. He was the managing editor at InfoWorld. He had a lot of Flint stories. He and there, it was interesting. But there's Playboy shows up on the scene in I guess the 50s, and they exploit the situation. It becomes a huge popular success, and he uses it to leverage his feelings about sexual liberation and all the rest. And then Penthouse comes out, which is more of a kind of more hardcore-ish looking women. And then Hustler.
Well, hold on, almost up. The specific difference between Playboy and Penthouse was pubic hair.
And yes, that was the main difference. And then I thought the pubic hair thing was taken to the max with more gross depictions of pubic hair and, and bodily parts in Hustler.
Yes.
And kind of just scummier looking women. Where was the violence against women? I don't remember that.
No, in fact, quite the opposite. Larry Flint should be heralded as someone who said free speech is free speech, and I'll show you what that means, even if it's something that you find disgusting. Let me just hear the report again to make sure what they're saying.
And Larry Flint.
Even that, and Larry Flint shows disdain. Disdain, woman.
And Larry Flint, who founded Hustler magazine, has died.
Oh, wait, stop. Back it up. She not only does what you express, but then she gives a very subtle but obvious.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Like, that guy, that douchebag. Glad we're rid of him.
And Larry Flint, who founded Hustler magazine, has died. Flint built a pornography empire partly on images of violence against women.
Wow. That is not the Larry Flint story. There was an actual story in a movie that Tom Cruise played in.
He built the empire on violence against the women, is what she said. This is PBS today.
Yeah.
This is your PBS, your natural treasure.
your natural treasure.
It's disgusting.
And that is the reason why you should consider what you do with your media money very wisely if you want to support something truly free and independent of creepy Chinese influences, corporate money, advertisers.
Hey, don't play us out yet. We can't go out without the global warming that's taking place, the global warming report in Europe.
I'm sorry. I was done. I was ready. But yeah, if you've got a breaking story, we have to play.
Crossings at the southern border have been growing for months, and Border Patrol facilities are filling up. Across Europe, a cold wave kept much of the continent in the deep freeze today. In Paris, layers of snow covered much of the city, disrupting travel in sub-zero weather. And off the Normandy coast, the famed tidal island, Mont Saint-Michel, was surrounded by snow and ice, a rarity.
I thought this was never going to happen again.
They would never see snow, only in snow globes. Now, after 24 years, they're talking about the natural ice skating competition in Holland. Global warming, climate change. And by the way, no skating for you, you silly slaves. That virus likes ice. Anyway.
And it likes to come out after 10.
It's nocturnal, indeed. Please consider supporting this program with your media money. If you got to spend it on something, spend it where you know it's getting put to good use and it's honest. That is the No Agenda Show, and I am one of the hosts. I'm coming to you from Opportunity Zone 33 at the frontier of Austin, Texas. It is the capital of the Drone Star State. Last time I checked, we're still in FEMA region number 6 until they start to redistrict. In the morning, everybody, I'm Adam Curry.
From northern Silicon Valley, where we're asking the question, Joe Biden, how many more people have to die on your watch? I'm John C. Dvorak.
Sir Gene has a podcast. He'll be up next on NoAgendaStream.com. That's Sir Gene Speaks. End of show. Mixes Andre Coleman and Sir Dave in Dimension B. We'll be back on Sunday. Until then, remember us at Dvorak.org/NA, and adios, mofos and such.
You've got
donate
karma.
Stop this show. Because you haunt her dreams? That's the source of
no,
this
I do
success?
everybody.
Oh, well, that may be true.
Donate. No, I'm haunting dreams.
No,
believe me. It's not that easy.
I'm sorry. It's completely equal. You are so right.
You make a note on that?
Noted.
Dirty Saudi Arabian fiat money. Donate. Get some Saudi gold.
Well, he says he could send silver, I think.
Well, you can send gold. You can mail the gold, but it's kind of heavy.
Yeah. And we thank them for the treasure.
The producer that turned me on and now you on.
The No Agenda Show has producers in
We have unbelievable producers.
Yes, we do.
Does she listen to the show? I don't think she listens. She's not. Maybe dominatrix types don't like the show. But the white girl can't.
No. No. Well, it's not even a color thing, I don't think.
Donate. You do the accounting. We don't do it.
Donate. Down. 2020. Lockdown. Down. 2020. But the podcaster, let him through. Let him go.
What makes you think you know more than the experts in Washington, D.C.? They told us to be inside, and they're not. What makes you think you know more?
Anarchy! What if China finds out?
Nightmare!
Anarchy! What if China finds out?
Refried beans, man.
Down.
There will be cake.
2020.
Choke on the toilet paper.
Lockdown.
Douchebag.
2020. Nightmare. Podcaster, let him through. Let him go. Lockdown. 2020. The best podcast in the universe.
Adios, mofo.
Dvorak.org/NA.
Balls.